What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? GRC, Hex in the morning. Sam Stolt in the background. We're going to talk for a little bit. Sam had a video come out yesterday. It was great. We're going to go through that a little bit. We're going to have Wendy's and Motley on for some absolutely mind-bending alpha destruction. And then we're going to get off and we're all going to go back to reality. But for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, you will be absolutely engaged because I'm absolutely engaged. I had a great morning and I'm ready to go. Let's throw up some biceps.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Hart. Richard Hart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. Point one every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my metamax moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pulsechain's out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this pulsechain lingo. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this pulsechain lingo. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart.
What is up? How are you doing, brother? Today is a fantastic day. I was excited. We were just talking before we came on that it is fun to work, not in the traditional sense how people have a definition of work as something that's Monday through Friday, or that they work to get paid. And you can have fun working. It depends on how you want to define work, and you create that however you decide to create a living. And I think that's awesome, and I'm glad to see that you're on that journey and you're at that place, because it makes life so much more exciting.
Oh, so much better. Oh my God, life is so much better. I'll never listen to someone ever again in my life. Ever, other than if I ask them for information. I will never
say hi to chat. Let's say there we go. I can't do that because my arms are just too fucking big.
Ribs popping through.
Hell yeah. I decided to do something. Do something. Drop your arms just a little bit. Do that again, and then you drop your arms down. You'll probably see a little bit more of your back muscles pop out when you turn around like that. Drop your arms down, and it will make your lats and rhomboids pop out a little bit more. Yep. Yeah. See. Exactly. You can't see this, but everybody in the stream is able to actually see that.
Yeah, that was a good tip.
Woo! So, looks like Abit's in the house. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. Let's first say
Abit is a gangster, brother. This man. We watched your thing yesterday again of your absolutely awesome story of taking your life to the next level and what you needed to do to get there. It was really cool.
I have a question for Abit or whoever's in the comments here. There's several Facebook groups in Pulse or around Pulse and Hex and pulsex on Facebook that you're in a couple of them too. And this is the third or fourth time I've seen this comment. So clearly this is an underlying theme that is just not clear among the community.
Great.
If this gentleman's holding liquid hex and I was like, hey man, why are you holding liquid hex? And he's like, well, because I want to wait until after Pulse drops because I didn't know if you're going to copy if it's staked. It's a good fucking question, man. Let me ask when I go on today. So anybody in the comments.
Theory on that is a little bit weird because, again, there's positions. Everyone has a different position in hex, right? If you have 60% of your hex staked out in a ladder that you love, yeah, having liquid hex makes a lot of sense, guys, because you want the only reason you would want liquid hex is one, because it's the best appreciating asset that has ever existed in mankind. Therefore, having that asset is good. It doesn't, if you're not staking is a technique to create future wealth that I want to have future wealth. But if you already have a staking position that you're comfortable with, I think having a little bit of liquid just in case other projects come out, because that's what happens. All these guys staked all their money. A lot of them, not all of them, but some people staked all their money.
Well, how do you
sacrifice hex or pulsex because all their money went to bye-bye?
What is, by the way, we're going to actually have a Facebook group that we're both be admins on or something. I have one set up. I just haven't talked to GRC about this.
I've looked at it. I saw
you looked. I haven't updated it, but
I've been learning Facebook like on the fly. It's been really fun though. I'm not going to lie. I love the Facebook so far. That's a hot take. People don't say that shit. I love it. I've been enjoying the shit out of it. I think things go in trends, right? So Facebook gets sold out, horrible, and then it almost like falls and then recreates itself into something like it goes to zero, and then kind of now it seems like, wow, there's a little bit of fair play here as far as decent content that they're not restricting completely.
Well, also, I've definitely had negative things to say about Facebook for the last decade plus and barely used Facebook and just really kind of decided to step my toes into Facebook a little bit over the past several, maybe 6 months or so. And there's a lot of people talk shit about Facebook. Like I was one of those people. And I knew how powerful it is when you have 2 billion fucking eyeballs on there in a month. Like there's a lot of attention there. And
I promise all of you, if I quit all of this shit, let's say I quit all this right now, just went on Facebook exclusively, just made that my platform. I said, I'm going to go all in 10 hours a day. Facebook. I bet you I could make it.
Oh, 100%. Dude, 100%.
That's what I'm saying, guys. There's too much opportunity. There's too many eyeballs for you to have a business that doesn't scale. Isn't that right, Sam?
It is. It's crazy. Like how
the scalability, Sam.
So I just was sending something in the background.
I like your sweatshirt.
Thank you. The scale of Facebook allows you to do crazy things. I think I may have told this story before, but I've used Facebook for just pushing stuff, but I never actually used it for interacting much until the last 6, maybe 8, 9 months. And I've been ramping that up over time. It's a very, very powerful tool to the point where I actually bought. This will be interesting. Anybody who's trying to make some additional money, this is 100% possible because I'm literally doing it. Bought a Facebook group for $1,000, and the dude wasn't responding. I'm in 200 plus Facebook groups, right? Because remember, I make a living by sitting on my computer, right? Other people go to jobs and stuff. Well, I do that by sitting on my computer, and I'm in these Facebook groups. And there's one Facebook group that stands out relative to some of the stuff that I do with my other business. And I saw that the owner was never in this Facebook group. So over the past 12 months, I reached out to him 4 or 5 times. So he just wouldn't respond. So I was like, hey man, I'll buy your Facebook group for $1,000. He's like, sure. He's in Brazil. $1,000 is probably a lot to him. Set it up. The next day we transferred ownership. Through PayPal, sent him the money. He added me as an admin, and we're done. And now that I own the Facebook group, I do get a couple things from that. First of all, I get all the insights from the Facebook group to make decisions or videos on, right? Second of all, I get to build more relationships with people in there because people want to know who is hosting the party, right? If you think of your house is having a party, everybody wants to know who the host is. Oh, whose house this is, or you're going to be the star, right? So people reach out to me just because I own the Facebook group. Third is that I actually go through and make $500 a month just from advertising to letting another company advertise in my group. And this month I'm adding another $200 to that. So I paid $1,000. I've already made $2,000. I'm getting another $700 this month just from having this thing that takes me 30 minutes a month to do. Like very, very truly amount of time to do this. And I also get to put my own shit in there to sell my own products. So I'm not tracking on there. So if somebody's like questioning the scalability of Facebook or what is possible with Facebook, I mean, this is just one tiny little example that 12 months ago I never would have thought of until I started entering the ecosystem and realizing, oh shit, this is opportunity. Guys not taking advantage. It's like, guarantee I could just take this group and flip it to somebody else. But those things, like what I just did, would work for a local community, and you buy the local community and then you can advertise to real estate agents or car dealerships or whatever in that local community.
Let me
awesome.
Let me address some comments. Let me address some comments real quick. So I don't short-term stake hex because I don't have enough hex to make it worth it with Ethereum fees. So because the Ethereum fees are too high and it's too annoying for me to do that right now. pulsechain fixes this, but let's talk about right now. Okay, so I said I don't have enough liquid to beat the ETH fees. Abit says exactly why hexagons don't stake short-term. Now, Abit's been around a while, so he has short-term stakes as a part of his arsenal because it was much cheaper when he was getting around. And now Justin says, if you don't have a ton of skin in the game, keeping liquid hex at this point might be a good idea because making and ending stakes on the pulse chain will be cheaper. Yes, that's true, but still, if you have those short stake fees on the ETH, you're still going to have to pay for those. So sometimes it depends how much ETH you have too. Like if you don't have ETH, like I have a little bit of ETH, so I don't really think about it that much. But if you did it and you needed to go out of fiat for ETH, that would be trouble. So you would have to think about that. You got to write all this shit down because there's a lot of just like, okay, if you do it 10 minutes later, the deal could be totally different, right? If you wait 3 hours, wait till midnight to do the ETH fee, it could be not a big deal at all. But if you
first things in the morning, I've been looking at it the last couple of days, and it's been $20 to $40.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean, it's still expensive.
If something occurs, that's what happens. When something occurs, like another bomb gets dropped or whatever, then it's just like everyone sells at the same time. And it's like, if you want to make a move before the price action happens, you can't. You're just because it's so
it's basically like a stadium that everybody's trying to leave and everybody gets fucked.
Well, the richest person gets out. So they do it in a line. The richest person gets his fees done. Then the next richest person gets his until there's people that won't pay for the fee anymore. And then the fee will drop.
So is there an upper limit to what people can pay?
No, it's what.
So can somebody just say like, hey, I'll pay the highest price and then they get their shit done?
Yes.
Or is it just like, because when I look up
the fee goes up
one,
so
two,
high,
three.
it's almost a self-regulating system. It goes up so high that only the people that can afford it will do it. Because the moves they're making are very important and it's minor, the fee comparatively to their stack. But 99% of people's stack would be wrecked if they had to pay $8,000 for the transaction.
So is it, if you have liquid hex, you get a copy of that on Pulse, assuming you put your position on before the snapshot, right? That is an accurate statement.
Say it one more time.
If you have liquid hex, you get a copy of that on Pulse chain, assuming it was done before the snapshot.
Yes.
Okay. If you have a stake, you technically don't have hex, right? Because it's burnt. Do you still get a copy of your?
Whatever hex you have, you get a copy of everything on the system state. So the exact way your staking ladder is with the T shares, it's going to be over there.
So you're going to get. So if you do have, 25 T shares,
stakes will be over there. All my interest will be over there, and it'll just be ratcheted.
How do you interact with your hex stakes on Pulse chain? Is it going to be through hex?
It's the same server. I've already done it on testnet. It's the same thing. It's just Pulse chain side.
So you're
exactly the same. So right now.
But are you using hex.com to access this, or where are you accessing?
For what? For the Pulse chain side?
For the Pulse chain side.
Well, it's not out yet, but people have showed on the testnet what it'll look like when it goes over. So
there's going to be like a new like interface besides hex.com to access the Pulse chain.
I think so.
Side of it.
I think it's the same page but a different server.
Okay, well that's good to know. And then maybe when those Motley and Wendyes.
Yeah, anything I'm doing wrong, guys. Motley and Wendyes will clear it up. That's kind of why I'm being a little bit more like, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. I'm in the gym listening to you guys. Win-win. Yes. Inflation only gets paid to people who are staked. The smart contract can only pay your hex according to how many shares you have. Yeah.
Oh, let's ask this question, and then we want to keep going through those, but I want to get your take on this and people's in the comments before I talk about anything in the video, because that's going to be important to touch on. In 2 years, right? So this is 2024. What are your thoughts on where the price may potentially be for X? Obviously, this is conjecture, folks. Like, we don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but sorry. Like, where do you think the price might be, GRC?
What, how much
2
time?
years. 2 years. Well, so remember, look back at the last 2 years. A lot has changed in 2 years.
Chart? Why don't we just pull out a chart and just extrapolate the chart? So do you want to pull up the chart?
Oh yeah. Hold on. I'll pull it up. I'll pull up economics right now and share that with you.
I would say roughly, if I'm going to guess what the chart would extract, $46 to $100 would probably be where my mind.
40. Okay, so everybody in the comments, I want to hear this. Chopstick Ninja.
Let's see what people are saying. $10 to $100 hemp hex, $77 8-bit hex. Mango says $2.30. Hey, any of these I'm cool with so far. I don't mind.
This is crazy, because this is going to be so crazy when I show you guys these numbers. This is going to be absolutely insane.
Yes.
You guys will love this video.
Well, no, because they've already happened. The numbers you're thinking of in your head have already occurred. They just happened before, and the numbers were what they are now. So I bought down there April 1st. That was the first day I went. April 1st I bought. That was Motley, or like that was the first day I like posted that I staked, I think, on that day. So it was like 2 cents roughly.
Right around this period here, right?
And it just went straight up since the day I bought it. I was like, what in the fuck is this shit?
Wow, you literally got in the fucking perfect time.
Motley was on his stream like, it'll never be at 2 pennies again. It's about to blow. Like, and I was like, whatever. Like, sounds good to me. And I just put some in, and then I started dollar costing averaging my Bitcoin in at that point all the way up to about 17 cents.
Wow. Okay, so give me what you think, somewhere between $10 and $100.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
That I would say over 10 would be very yes.
Okay, so
10 to be conservative.
And this is in 2024. Can
now
I
make it go to the algorithmic chart, the logarithmic chart. You got to do the logarithmic chart.
Hold on a second. Let me pull this back up.
And here I'm going to make it full screen. So go by.
Where is the log?
What's the best chart to use? Bullish. What's the best chart to use? I don't think this is
down here.
Yeah, click there and then go log.
Logarithm. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Now zoom out a little bit.
This is the max.
Zoom out a little more.
Well, this is the max here.
I know, but now move up to where it would be if it kept going up, so I can see like the.
Okay. I see what you mean. So if it comes kind of like up this way, is that what you're saying? Like kind of like tracking.
Yep. Now move it all the way to the left, so I can see it.
Somewhere right around here, around $30.
Yeah, but I need you to scoot the whole chart back so I can see where it would extrapolate. There you go. All right, right there. Okay. Yeah. So now go up.
I mean, like that. If you're talking like
right about there, like, or go lower about 80. Right, go to about 80 where you're at. I would say that's about realistic.
Okay, so I want to hear what the people in the comments have to say, and then I gotta show you. I gotta show you what I put together, because I'm not saying anybody should do any of the shit that I'm talking about in the video whatsoever. But this is something because I like options, and this is fascinating to me, right? Not saying anybody else should do any of this
financial
shit.
Advice.
Correct. Whatsoever.
No financial advice. That is our standard. Use RH random line. This is our standard. Yes. Just put a random line and say that's where she's going.
Okay. Can you see this? So this is a call option. So this is a long call option. And when you say long, that just means you hold it, you bought it, kind of thing.
So now, what are you explaining right here?
So the essence of what we're going to talk about is like a call option, right? And then how I am going to go through and create a call option payoff with hacks that you don't actually have to pay for today. It's insane, dude. It is absolutely insane. Like I had to stop after the video because I was so excited to go blather in my girlfriend's ear. And she was like, oh, cool, babe. And she has no idea what I'm talking about. And I was like, oh man, this is fucking amazing. I'm definitely going to do this because that's how excited I was about this. But you have a call option for those of you who are not aware, and you pay a premium for the ability to exercise that in the future. If the price goes up, you make money, right? And what if the price stays the same or goes down, you lose money, right? And all you lose is just the premium you put in, the amount you put into the deal, right? So if you paid $1,000 or $5,000 for that option or several option contracts, then that's all you're going to lose is $1,000 to $5,000, however much you put in. But there's a way to actually create that payoff that I was showing you.
Hold that.
Yo,
What's up?
Whoa, hold up. They're together. That's pretty crazy.
You guys are in the same.
how do we sound real quick, Jim Rat? How do we sound?
You sound great.
Okay, just making sure because you guys are just going
Nice
through the
shirt.
line. What's up? What's going on, guys?
How are you guys doing today? Nice. This is a co-stream. This is a double co-stream. Nice.
I don't know. Can you reach over and actually touch Jim Rat though?
I mean, I come in through the side.
What are you guys doing? Just going out, hanging out, doing business stuff?
Yeah, we did an impromptu trip to Puerto Rico. So we're currently in Puerto Rico right now, checking it out again.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's our second time on the island.
Dope. Have you guys looked into or heard of the Nomad Capitalist YouTube channel? He also has a book.
Of course.
What are you
I
guys?
haven't read this book yet, but I watch his YouTube channel.
See, I like his thinking on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, we agree. We're pretty much doing the same stuff.
yeah, we're just
What's the
using
general ethos over there?
pretty much go where your money's treated best. It's kind of
Like-
philosophy.
His catchphrase.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of what we're looking at in Puerto Rico right now for, right? Like, it's the only way as an American citizen you can essentially use it to leverage the tax advantages that Puerto Rico has. What is it? It's Act 60 now? Yeah, so like it used to be Act, I think, 21 and 22, and now it's Act 60. But it's the only way as a American citizen you can really leverage the tax advantages here in Puerto Rico and still maintain your citizenship. Nomad Capitalist gave up his citizenship and got it in a couple other countries for his tax advantages. It just depends what works best for you, kind of philosophy.
Yes, and there's so many nuances for that. Like, because when he talks about some of the nuances, it's just awesome to hear the detail. For me, I like those details, right? Where like you're setting your business up in one country that allows you to have like little restrictions from tax and regulatory standpoint, but you don't necessarily have to reside in that country. You can reside in a different country that also provides that, but setting it up in a way that allows you to move the money around in a way that is efficient. I mean, it's just awesome. Like I was like, this guy's good stuff.
Right.
So
And he caters to a very high-end clientele, obviously, right? Like it's people that have a lot of money and looking to move. Like I think a couple of Hexicans have gone through his services already, and like at the low end, you're gonna pay like a $20,000 consultation fee. And so like I love all his knowledge and it's very good, but at the same time, like if you're willing to put in the work and effort, like you can figure out all that info is out there. You just gotta be able to know where to look and how to search for it. So you can do it on your own, but some people just prefer if they have the money, they can just reach out to that.
It depends how rich you are. It's like, do you got to keep digging, or do you have enough resource to kind of just let someone know that you need help?
No,
What
but
were
the
you
thing
saying,
is,
Wendy?
you hit 100,000, you hit 200,000, you start doing this research now. You don't wait until you're
Oh
rich.
no, this is all we do all day long.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
this is all the shit that I like to learn about now.
we were talking about this for like years before
Yeah.
we trigger on anything. So and like we know all of our options, like in
That's
heavy
awesome.
stuff. So
Are you guys doing any CBI, or is that something you don't want to talk about? But are you guys getting other citizenships as well?
yes. Yeah, we are. But
Probably
we're not going to talk.
probably won't mention those.
Yeah,
Rico-
let's
Wait, where exactly are you guys staying in Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico's already kind of obvious. I mean, that'll probably eventually come out regardless. So I don't mind that as much. And the island's relatively larger, but some of the
Strapped up. So
yeah, got a lot of security.
Not for
But,
these guys. If you see him with Jim Rat, I'll do some
But
distraction. Damn, they'll get you.
the other countries and stuff where I mean, there's some countries we're looking to that obviously have a bigger population, but then there's also some other island countries that are a lot smaller, which you probably wouldn't want to necessarily give out on stream unless you know it.
I was telling you guys we're buddies. I was like, dude, they're best buddies. I'm telling you. And they're like, really? Are they best buddies? I'm like, and then you guys popped up sitting next to each other. I was like, they're best buddies, dude. I'm telling you.
We've been traveling together for a long time.
yeah,
That's
like
what Hex
last
does,
year.
though. Hex does that to people because you find people you could trust for the first time in your life.
Yep.
But some
We
people
made-
you not trust.
And we just continue to grow like mentally, our wealth, friendship, all that stuff, right? And this is kind of what I talked to on like last streams, like all these connections and networking, all this stuff is really important, right? Because like Wendy's is good at stuff that I'm not good at. I'm good at stuff that Wendy's isn't good at. And together, like it's that yin yang thing. Together, you always try to find like business partners that kind of fill that void that maybe you're not an expert in, but you don't have the time to dedicate and resources to dedicate it to it, or maybe it's just not your niche, right? Like maybe it's just not you. You can't quite fill that. So you find someone that complements you well, and then you just both prosper together. So like it's the same thing too. Like both of us moving to Puerto Rico. Okay, yeah, we've done some stuff together and everything, and we got our buddies and our company that we started with, like Legion VC, but we're all across the world spread out. When you're like actually in the same vicinity as someone, like you get a lot more done. It's just you can bounce ideas off each other. You guys can both knock out different things. It just works. It's just again, it's just kind of optimal when you're doing business and work. It was funny. We were talking about this the other day, and we're just chilling out in the pool. It's like Puerto Rico will probably become our like new, like this is work for us, right? Like this is our like retreat / work. Like, yeah, we're enjoying like an amazing life, but like this is where we come to play and work at the same time. It'll be fun.
Like this is why I say that, because I look at a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that like talk a lot of shit about like coming down here for this reason, like to Puerto Rico or whatever. Like, oh, this and that, and it's like half the people ain't been down here for a substantial amount of time. There's all these like misnomers. Oh, it's so dangerous down here. Come down here, man. There's G-Wagons everywhere. There's like high-end Mercedes. There's everything. They got everything down here. But like,
You can't even go to the surf without there being like vacationers there all day long. Like whenever you go down there to the surf, it's like it is not like a third world country. It's like
well, the surfing community down here is very wealthy. Some of the wealthiest surfers come here because the surf is so good, and they use the Act 60 or Act 22 before this. They use that for the leverage the tax because they love the surf so much. Why not take the tax advantages as well if you're going to spend a good portion of the year here surfing, and which is what a lot of people do down here.
Sure, yeah, we've met a lot of people like that. But here's the second part, right? So it's like, all right, like we don't work anymore, right? We don't have like traditional jobs. Well, I mean, we work, but we don't have like traditional jobs anymore where like you were working maybe like half the year, 180 days of the year. Well, the Puerto Rico like tax laws is you have to live here basically half the year. So I'm like, just look at it like you were still working like a job, like, because people say, oh, I don't want to not see my family for half the year. Well, it's like you're working half the year, you can't see your family. You know what I mean? So, and there's ways they could come visit here. You guys could go to like Europe together. I mean, there's other ways to look at it, but the amount of money, if you're a baller that you can save by doing this,
it's insane.
It's crazy, man.
It's
you don't want to know.
Compared to DC and California, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah,
you're paying.
And I wasn't a resident of California. Okay, I had 0 state tax, and I still paid a lot of money. I mean, multiple years of like what I would have worked at my job, like maybe like let me think, like maybe 6 years of my income at my old job, like crazy, just 1 year. So I was like, I'm out.
Me and Sam are good partners too. We're not like business partners or anything yet, but like he does all the stuff well that I cannot do physically, and I do all the stuff well that he does not want to do at all. Like he's like, I don't really want to connect and like meet all these people. I kind of want to research, and I'm like, I don't even know how to research, but I can connect with all these people. And I know they know shit. Like I'm like, these guys are like well known. They know their shit. Let's just bring everyone together. And then he kind of hammers out detail to me. and then on the stream. So I'm like learning the detail, and then you come in and you obviously fill in the gaps where we don't know. And it's so good because people like to support you if you're being honest, but that's the coolest part. It's like once you figure out that being honest is the best way to do things, it's like I already know the YouTube channel is going to do good because I don't have anything to hide. There's nothing to hide. Like there's nothing anyone can say. Any Telegram group, anything, all talking crap about whatever, I don't care because there's nothing you could say. I've said it all on stream 10 times.
I completely agree. There's what Motley was saying, but also what you were saying. There's, those complementary things, and you either don't want to spend the time to learn that stuff, or that other person is just super passionate about that stuff, and it's like that shit just fits together perfectly. And, oh wow, that's freaking awesome. You guys had mentioned VC firm, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I'm gonna ask about your company. What's your company like, and what are you guys focused on there?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, we just kind of all found each other randomly, like in a friend group, like in a chat, and we were all talking one night, and we were like, "Yo, why don't we like put our funds together and like make some moves?" You know what I mean? And like, I've always been like a person that has like a lot of ideas, like a lot of business ideas, a lot of ideas. Like I got a million ideas to make money, but I don't have a lot of motivation. Okay, like I'm not going to be the one to go and like. We're eating good out here, you know what I'm saying? Like life is good, like I need that push, and he does too to an extent. So
I'm like a lesser version of you. I don't need the shove you need.
Yeah, it's a pretty big shove, you know what I mean?
It's like a cattle prod now and
Yeah, I got people like calling me like, hey, like there's a meeting right now, and I'm like, all right,
So
it's like that, and they're like, yo, Wendy's has to be here because like I do strategy for the company, so it's like they're like, we're having a meeting about money or something like that. If I'm not there, it's like, all right. So
Josh Deep is our cat herder organizer of our group, because we definitely can be all over the place at times. But again, it's just that finding those people that synergize well with you. And so like as far as our company goes, we're pretty much keeping it majorly crypto based, right? Like a lot of people are doing some legacy stuff, which is good. Some people are doing working into lobbying and politicians. Like you need all different aspects. For us, and our group's a little bit younger, we just have a hard time going anywhere outside of the crypto community, because there's just we've seen so quickly like how much it's so much easier to just make money in here, right? Whatever your views,
we that we sold all our stocks. Like, why are we gonna go back to that? Like, there's a I could talk. I'm not gonna dog what anybody else is doing for sure, but like there to me is no reason to leave crypto.
Well, and like so our first thing was as simple as like friend group got together. Okay, cool. We all trust each other, right? And this is the crazy thing too, like the amount of trust. And
you have no idea.
Like we literally, so like it started with like we're gonna pool our funds, right? Our group, our friend groups. Some of us we've met in person, some of us we haven't. We just chat every night, all this stuff. And we, as a group, we were willing to send each other. It was going to be me and Crypto Vince that was going to hold the keys to this wallet, but we were going to send each other. Everyone's going to send each other money, and like we were sending each other millions of dollars, right? Like borderline strangers. Like some of us hadn't met in person yet. Yeah, sending each other shit ton of money, but like it was weird because that trust and everything had been established over the past 2 years. We just come up through so much together. Everyone's doing well, so you don't really have to worry about someone like running off with the money. And so we decided to pull our funds, and it's like, let's get that multiplier. And then John, like he said, he usually comes up with very creative business ideas. It's like, okay, we have a large economic mass to come in there as the top wallet. This could be a business model. We have community trust, like just like we trusted each other to send our funds. The community trusted us to not like run off with their money as well. So it's like, hey, maybe we put a proposition out there. We're going to charge a fee if you would like to enter our pool. We're already X amount on the leaderboard as far as our wallets go. You can get up at least a 2x up to like a 2.3, 2.4x, and we're going to charge 10%. So you can get upwards of 2x plus and 10% fee. And you can enter it or not. You see a bunch of crybabies and socialists that are like, oh, but you're charging them to make money. It's like, it's cool. You don't have to enter, right? You can shut the fuck up.
I wish somebody would charge me 10%, give me 200%. Like, the fuck out of here. It's like Richard said, right? Like everyone's got something bad to say, but like, you give me money, make me money. You ain't putting money in my pocket, so fuck off.
Yes.
But it's cool, right? Like it's this beautiful thing. It's just like it's freedom of choice. If you don't like a product or service, and this goes back for anything that anyone's creating in the community, right? Like everyone, Twitter is a really toxic place to bitch and communicate. There you guys go.
Throw them up.
But
Come on.
the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to participate. It's like cool. It's like, hey, it's not for me. I'm gonna move on. You don't have to sit there like a 5-year-old and throw a tantrum, right? There's nothing productive, and usually those people aren't building or doing anything better for the community, anyways. So you just move on. But yeah, so that's how it started. So we did our friend group, our company brings a lot of economic mass to the table. We offer that as a pool service. We also have the trust in place in the community as well. So people are willing to send us millions of dollars and have faith that we send it back. So that's a huge honor, a
millions.
huge responsibility. A lot goes into that stuff, right? And so far, I think we've done really well with being good caretakers of that. We received all the test pulse and pulsex. We have a script that goes ahead and sends it out to everyone. So we just sent everyone out their pulsex and pulse. Everyone's really happy with the numbers. They can go play on testnet, so that's good. We'll probably run another test run on V3 when it comes out, and then it should be good to go. Everything, numbers are hammered out, everything's good, and everyone should have their pulsex within the first hour of mainnet launch. So that'll be great. That'll be
as long as the network's not like completely like congested or something, but it's not going to be because of us.
Well, that'll be the first successful service that we've essentially initiated with Legion VC. We took those proceeds and then we started building a crypto project for pulsechain, right? So again, to just further adoption and growth in pulsechain. So we had a couple projects on the table. One fell through, just our devs couldn't do it. We had Dev Kyle come in to do some consultation, but it was beyond what they were capable of. So we had to drop one of the projects. It's kind of cool because another community member is actually doing something very similar to what we were going to do. So it's kind of cool that kind of got picked up anyways. But our project's done. We just finished our audit with Coin Fabrique. There's a couple things that we're getting corrected right now, and then it should be ready for pulsechain live.
Can you talk about it, or you want to talk about it now?
No.
Hey,
It's honestly not really like it's not really marketed at our community.
I like that alpha though.
Well, and this is the thing, like Wendy's just said, like it's not really for our community. So like what we built is essentially it's just to reach out to outside, because the whole game of pulsechain, right, is like we want people to come in. So we're going to be marketing and reaching outside of our community. And again, John came up. Sorry, John, I give your name, but Wendy's came up with a cool idea as well. So like, yes, it's not marketed towards our community, but there is kind of a Hexagon twist we put on it where you can earn yield. It'll be in the form of Pulse too, right? And Pulse might be that one kind of lacking department on pulsechain that you're not getting, because most people are going to be delegating their pulsechain, right? And like we've kind of already discussed on this channel, how that's probably going to be the lesser of the yields, especially early on when the value of Pulse is low and adoption is low. That's going to be probably the lesser of all the yields in this new ecosystem. So like our product does potentially give you a chance to earn higher yield in the form of Pulse. There is no token. Again, it's kind of like we're focused on like a service base that brings people into the new ecosystem. So we'll be able to put more out as it comes out, but hopefully, knock on wood, everything should be done. The audit should be clean and good to go on the second run, and it'll be ready for pulsechain. So that's something else we're doing. There's a couple other websites that we're working on currently.
The pulsex Twitter bot. That's going to tie into a website
So,
that we're building for the community.
If you guys have seen that, we've been working with someone on building the pulsex burn bot, so you can watch and see how much pulsex has been burned already, all those stats. That's going to link up with some of the websites we're doing.
So on Twitter, Sam, they basically have, I don't know if you've seen these yet. So they have the bots that show all the big transactions, or in this case, all the big burns for pulsex. Yeah. It just shows you the numbers in real time when they occur.
So this is this the burn feature when transactions happen? There's that 20.
What's it called? Pulsex bot.
Pulsex bot.
Yeah, if you look up Pulsex box, it'll show you everything that's been burned.
It does it when the day rolls over at midnight UTC. And it'll show like how many times the burn transaction was run. And I mean, it's pretty crazy because like, what was I telling you? Like how many times an hour? Like 200 and something times an hour or something.
How many times people
are testnet
running it and claiming the bounty. And then I think right now it's what last time we checked it was over 12 billion.
12 billion. Yeah.
Billion has been bought and burned already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So pretty cool. Yeah, that's another thing that we got going on. We have one other project that's on the back burner because we decided that it doesn't need a token. Like, because this is the thing, man. I see so many projects and I'm like, everybody wants to do a sacrifice phase, and like that's awesome because it's so much better to raise money and then build something.
People don't realize how costly this shit is.
It's extremely expensive.
We spent well over
Everybody wants
6
to talk
figures.
about like what everybody else is doing. It's like, yo, you got to put up like we've already spent 6 figures doing this stuff, you know. And like you said, we didn't have a sacrifice phase or anything like that. We could have done that and raised
We
millions.
didn't have the pools. It was essentially
Yeah.
we via the idea you came up with, we essentially had a way to raise funding via different than the sacrifice.
And I'm not even saying
But
sacrifice.
it was providing when you think of like a sacrifice, it's kind of like, at least how I perceive this being new. It's like sacrifice, but then there's a potential like future thing.
Yeah,
where
I would say that's probably the only difference is like there's the potential, like, and you just don't have the viable product yet. So there's unknown, but like you as a sacrificer, like you should realize going in. If you're willing to sacrifice, you just have to take that, be willing to risk it all, whatever you decide to sacrifice for. And that goes with a Richard Hart product too, right? Like he has more history than most of these other sacrifice phases have already. But like it's the same thing. Like you are committing this amount of economic mass and not expecting anything in return. Like that's the whole shtick. And like you can like it, you cannot like it. Cool. Again, freedom of choice. Participate, don't participate. But you know, it's up to yourself.
The one thing I don't like though is like when they duct tape on a token just to have a sacrifice. Like sometimes you got to be more creative. You know, like so like for the project that we put on the back burner, it's specifically for Hex. It makes it, in my opinion, it's like like it's probably the safest way to stake. It's really like to me the end all be all. Like it might be the final piece of the puzzle for Hex that really like secures it in the future, like going forward. I mean, it's a really, really great idea. It wasn't mine. I can't take credit for it. Somebody else came to us. Very developer came to us. But the thing is, like, he had an idea for a token, and I was like, look, bro, like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't need a token. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that because it's it's for Hex. Like, we don't need it. You don't need like a million different Hex related tokens. Okay, like it's just that's not good for the ecosystem in general. So it's on the back burner for us. So we're gonna have to build something else first. Do something else like for the Pulse ecosystem, and then maybe build that later.
I think the last big thing we want to do is we want to be a validator as well. So I still have to get with Hodl Dog. I want to reach out to him and probably David Feeder and get some pointers on becoming our own validator. So Legion would like to be, because we did the same thing, right? Like we already proved the concept with doing our pools. Being a validator is the same thing. As long as you run the equipment, everything is good and top notch. Being a validator is the same thing. The community trusts you to send their funds to delegate their polls to. And again, like we bring a decent amount of economic mass in this ecosystem. So that's a good head start when it comes to being a validator.
To Wendy's, I think you had mentioned that briefly, like maybe a week or so ago, that was something that was potentially on the thought process of like being a validator, which I found interesting. With the VC funding apparatus thing, is the idea to wind it down after the launch, or like where you're using that 10% to launch into other things? Obviously, like we just talked about that. And whenever you guys want to elaborate in more detail on any one of those things, like I am happy to learn about those, or if there's some way I can help in that process, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. But what's that process?
Several months, because we have so many like expenses, like we have a lot that's going on, and we have an employee that we have to pay, and so we do have like a lot of expenses right now, and especially for like the last pool, like we took the 10% on the back end, so we don't get that 10% until pulsechain launches.
Well, that was the thing. Pulsechain, we did the front end. Actually, enabled us to work on this project, and then the second time with pulsex, we did it on the back end. But what's cool about doing it on the back end now is when mainnet does go live, you have a large form of yield generation, right? So now you can use those funds instead of just using it and spend. It's just like what we're all trying to do, right? Like we're trying to live off the interest our assets earn, or the yield our assets earn. Like that's the name of the game. You never want to give up the whole golden goose. much rather just sell off the eggs, the yield every day, right? So that'll be nice once mainnet goes live. But again, that's just an unknown right now that no one can really pinpoint. Like we just have to wait for it to go live. So we're just trying to be as situated and ready for it as possible when it does come.
That's super exciting. I'm excited for you guys. This is going to be awesome.
We try to do a little bit of everything, and then we have hexmerch.com. We're actually sponsoring ABIT, and them on their million pulse tour, Crypto Sparbuck on their million pulse tour, to get them going, because it is a lot of money, to do, like a around US tour. So we're going to try to help them out, and so, and then we have another website, Altcoin Drip, which just focuses on like the rest of crypto, merchandise wise. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else? That's it.
Well, which one are you got? Then this is probably separate. Like Wendy's probably has a different answer than Motley. What are you each individually most excited about? Like Wendy's, go first. Like what's out of what the things you're working on? Which one to you? And maybe you already kind of alluded to it, the project that's on the back burner. I don't know, but like, which one are you most excited about and why?
Honestly, I'm excited for every one of them for different reasons. They're just so different. Like Hex in general is, you stake it and you don't think about it, you forget about it. So like the project that we want to build, that's like emphasizing that, making that better. It's still, you're just setting it and like you're leaving it alone. So it's not something that you're like, every day. To me, I like doing like yield farming, stuff like that's more exciting to me. So like things like that, and like other things that we can potentially build that are more things that the entire ecosystem is going to interact with every day, and it's not like that kind of stuff is a little bit more exciting to me. But just everything in general. I mean, just the trajectory that we're going, and like I always say, I'm like, the best thing that Hex ever did was just bring our like friend group together. Like that's the number one blessing that we've had. So yeah, just a little bit of everything.
For me personally, I think the project that's already complete and getting audited right now, like I think it'll be the most profitable, right? To me, it's a no-brainer. It all operates in Pulse, whether you're using the service or you're using it to earn yield. It's all operating Pulse. So like, to me, it's a no-brainer that's going to be the most profitable, even if it's mildly successful. Just think you get an asset at the creation. Like we know what Hex did. So like Pulse, pulsex, all this stuff after it launches, when you accumulate a lot of these assets early on, and then you have the price appreciation of what you're collecting. Instead of just collecting, think of it like and this is why crypto wins over traditional business and like products and everything, right? Like, so let's say you have a business and you have dollars coming. Okay, are those dollars appreciating? No. What we have coming in is a cryptocurrency that's going to be day one, and it's probably going to be crazy appreciating asset over the long term, right? So like imagine, okay, let's say they're all worth like 0.0001 of a cent at start, and you just collect millions, hundreds of millions, billions of these tokens, and then and then your entire treasury starts going up by a 10x, 100x, 1000x, and then the numbers just get absurd. So I'm excited for that, as in it'll probably be the most profitable. That's cool, and then that can just be used to funnel into other things.
When Motley, when you say profitable, as is it like the front end is profitable, or you're like, well, we're going to be paid in Pulse, and that's fucking profitable. Which how are you thinking about that? Distinguishing.
He's saying like, are we going to be getting like fees or whatever? But like, essentially, like it's all Pulse. It's like everything is in Pulse because there's no duct taped on token. So like that's the benefit, right? Because like you can build a token,
earns Pulse, collect Pulse. People can use it to earn yield in Pulse. Like I think it's just gonna do it really well. It's no brainer. And then the services providing markets outside really our community. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one. As terms as like profitability, that's probably the one I'm most excited about. And then like a personal one that I'm most excited about that we haven't even really jump started is like, I really do love the idea of becoming a validator, because I think, again, I think to earn that trust and be a pillar of the community, like I think that's what validators really represent to me. Like, of course, Richard's going to have a bunch, but you got people like Hodl Dog, you have people like David Feeder running the Discord Syndicate one. Like I really want to see Legion have their own validator as well. So like, personally, like the one that's closest to me, I would like to really do that. And that one's probably going to be one that's not profitable for a long time. The expenses and everything to run that are very expensive. And again, we've talked about how the fees are going to be very minimal. The value of Pulse is going to be very minimal when it first starts. And you'll probably operate at like the first year or two at a loss, depending on how much you get.
If the network needs us, then I'm down to do it. But like, if not, like, I think we should just focus on doing the fiat on-ramp. The fiat on-ramp, though, is like,
Yeah, I mean,
that's the fiat on-ramp seems like that's like, yes, obviously there's great goodwill.
That's
the
like
one
real
like
mass adoption. Like once you get the fiat on ramp,
that was the hardest, especially in
Think
the
about if you guys both already have a awareness to a certain degree in the community. Like you already know a bunch of people in the community. People already trust you with their money, which is tremendous. And now to be able to go through and be like, hey, we created an on-ramp for fiat. You know how many people would back that shit in this community because they already trust you guys? Like that would be like the go-to.
Is the hardest part. Trust is the hardest part. That's the part everyone slips up on.
Also the hardest. That's the hardest one.
legislation is also one of the hardest parts when it comes to those ramps. But
Be difficult. But,
Well, other than that part, I mean, just like the whole crypto thing, it's like the only reason a lot of us like this product,
It's
the only reason this
the
product
barrier
is so good. What?
Go ahead.
it's the barrier to entry because, like, okay, so like, let's say you have somebody that has $200, right?
Mhm.
And they want to on-ramp to pulse chain. Like, well, like currently they would have to still, maybe they could do like $200 in USDC on Coinbase for free, send it to a MetaMask, but then they still have to pay the bridge fee to bridge it over. What? Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Do you guys know Grant Cardone? Have you guys heard of him?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so you know how he's doing crowdfunding for his shit for real estate?
Yeah.
Okay, and he's like the most successful person in that realm in terms of
When you say
globally.
crowdfunding, what is?
He's a marketer, not really like an investor, but yeah.
But as an investor, he still has a portfolio of $4 billion plus, right? So like, yes, right, but you have to
give money.
What's that?
Like, you can do that when people give you tons of money. That's the way it goes, right? Like if you have tons of people giving you tons of money and you get a cut of it, you're gonna look like the best investor of all time, but you're not. You're really just like good at marketing, right?
But your shit still has to work. But the point is, the point of it is though,
that your shit still has to work. I disagree with your shit still has to work. I've paid for many of things that my shit does not.
I'm pretty sure. Wasn't he getting? I don't follow Grant Cardone that much, but like, wasn't he getting like for some of his?
Well, the so like the point is, it's very, very, very successful for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can, and where the devil's in the details say, right? There is certain ways, just like what Richard did with the sacrifice phase. There's ways to get around so that the rules are slightly evolving, even though they're antiquated as fuck. Where there may be a way to have like, because there's a guy at my gym who like runs the Canadian operations for him or something like that, and there's a way to have it where you can document that you've had trust with somebody for a certain amount of period of time or whatever, so that this way you can do it directly. So if there's a way where there's a centralized figure of some sort that had the pulse that allowed people to on-ramp directly. So like it would be like me on-ramping my mom, my brothers, right? Like, hey, I'm telling about them, they hear my shit, they know who I am, and then they're like, okay, cool, Sam, I'll do that. It's $200, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, just send me this and I'll fucking get it done for you. And then that way it's almost like getting around the system in a certain way. I don't know any of the details, but I see that it's successful for him for raising money, independent of what he's doing. Completely agree, he's amazing at marketing, like, and all the other stuff. But like this piece of it could be taken portions of that from what he's doing and applied into the crypto space. I think in a way that allows that like on ramping, right? Because I was thinking about this. Well, how is Pulse, right? Because you have to like. You're going through the door over here.
About that, because like if anybody builds an exchange, like people just start using it. If it's as long as it's regulated, like people will use it, right? Like you didn't have to know anybody at Coinbase to start sending them, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, right? Like it's just kind of like implied because they have a, they get enough reviews or whatever. Like, so I don't really think that's 100% necessary. It's more of just like cutting through legislation, getting the money transmitter licenses and all that kind of stuff. That's the hard part. And even like Richard's tried to do it and he's had trouble. He said, like other people need to try.
Yeah,
So,
he's like, guys, please, with the regulations. He's like, I'm sure that shit is so effing annoying. If I know anything about any sort of legislation, it's absolutely disgusting how many loopholes they have to make your life a living hell.
Yep.
To do anything. And that doesn't even matter if you're buying something or it's just like the insurance company that covers you for your car. They all want to destroy you. My insurance company, I had to get a lawyer to get my insurance company to pay for my car that got ran into while I was asleep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I needed a fucking lawyer. Like,
Great.
Yeah.
I needed it. Honestly, after 21 days, I was like, I will not get coverage. I won't get it if I don't get a lawyer.
They do everything they can to not pay you. That's why like insurance is mostly a scam. I mean,
It's
for the most part, you like I would never get insurance on anything I could afford to replace. You know what I mean? Like get a stove or anything like that. Oh, you want the warranty? No, I don't want no damn warranty. Like I'm just gonna replace. I don't want to like jump through a million hoops to get it. I just want to go to the store and get another one. So and like if you do that with everything. Like you're kind of like the way I look at it is like you're betting on yourself versus betting against yourself, right? Like I'm always going to bet on me. So, even if stuff fails me, I'll still win in the long run.
Well, nowadays you have to. Who else are you going to bet on?
But it takes advantage of like poor people because poor people can't afford to get a refrigerator replaced, right? So they have to pay the extra $150 or whatever. You imagine you spend $150 on every appliance because you can't afford to get it replaced. Like it's crazy. So.
Yeah. Have you as you've gone through this process over the last period of time since you guys have been building this out? What are some cool, interesting tools and things that you guys have found to like really help like have an impact on putting everything together? Like software wise, website, enterprise stuff for aggregating with
the software stuff. We've used all kinds of like project management stuff and like most of it's in my opinion, like unnecessary. And a lot of like what we do is like, we use Google Meetings and stuff like that. So we use that. For our treasury, we use some, like accounting software, I believe. And, because like I said, we have like a lot of, you have to pay, was it Coin Fabric or whatever? I think like our audit was like probably like 35 racks, like it's a lot of money. So, just paying in and out. Like I said, Nikki's our employee, so we got to pay him every 2 weeks.
Are you paying that in crypto or fiat? If I can ask.
Crypto.
Okay, I figured, but I just wanted to.
It's interesting that you learn about.
We could pay him in fiat. We have that too, but
it's just easier.
He's still coming out. He's not where the rest of us are, and not everybody in Legion is like super super rich, but there's enough of us that are that we can
so dope, dude. I'm so excited for the future like business stuff.
I'll say this because like there's been a lot of people OGs or like other business ventures. Now, I don't agree with every business venture that like Hexicans do or whatever, but you just got to like look at it on an individual basis. Is this for me or is it not for me? But why are you hating? Because this is my thing. I was a nurse, right? I was working 80 hours a week. Do you think I had fucking time to start a business? I did not. Okay. So now it's the first time in my life I have all the time in the world. So I've always been interested in investing in business and stuff like that. So now we're dabbling in it and we're doing things. And it's like, people talk shit, but it's like, I see it as like, we're helping a lot of people. Like hundreds of people got in and got like a 200% bonus on their crypto because of what we did. We could have just taken that whole bonus for ourselves and then diluted everyone. Right.
Correct. I did. Correct. I took advantage. Oh, I did.
Yeah,
no, that's what.
The fact, like, because even our families like got in, and we still charged our families.
Yeah,
Well, the deal, it's not even charging. You're not charging.
My dad paid it. My dad put like 6 figures in, so he paid, like
2x. 2x your money is not getting.
Like it was like, yeah, this is a great opportunity, and you guys have expenses, you guys have a lot of stuff, and look, we're employing people in the community, anytime like we paid thousands of dollars, for a bot. We're always going to be, like helping the community and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, but the bigger you guys get,
I say fuck you.
the bigger you guys get and the more attention you get, the more hate you're gonna have. That just comes with it, because there's so many broken people out there that like need help, or they think they need help, but really they just need to look in the goddamn fucking mirror and take action on their life, right? And the bigger you get, the more hate and more spite and more jealousy, and like it just comes with that. As you guys continue to grow, you're gonna see more and more of that stuff, and
there's a lot of like socialist talk too in our community.
It's weird when you come to crypto and everyone becomes.
Have you noticed that, Sam?
It's like what I came here to get away from.
Have you noticed that, Sam?
When I only had 5,000 in crypto, I never talked like a socialist. I never was like, "Oh, what are you guys going to give this?"
I was too busy trying to make it. Like, I was too busy grinding.
Yeah, that's the thing. No one's busy grinding anymore.
That's what we did, right? That's what we did. We weren't on like Twitter fingers like, "Oh, you should just donate everything," and then like emergency end stake, and then all. Come on, like first of all, you ain't got no T-shares, okay? So if somebody did that, then you're still not getting a part of the pie. The OGs are still getting most of it. So it's like, what are you talking about? Like, people just, it's funny, but it's sad, like at the same time, because I'm like, I see those kinds of things, and I'm like, that's what stops somebody from getting ahead, okay? Because you're basically saying like, are you too focused on others and not on what you should do?
Crabs in the pot, baby.
Just crabs, just like clawing each other, trying to get on top, instead of saying like, yo, how do I get out of this? Like, what's something I can do? And Mommy will tell you, if anybody comes to us and they're like, hey, what should I do? We always talk to them and stuff like that,
I was obsessed with my whole young adult life was just getting ahead. It was literally just whatever it took, like real estate, stocks, grinding multiple jobs, you name it. Like, I just knew like doing the standard 9 to 5 just was never going to cut it. Like everything's good. So we're all set up. But yeah, it's always been hustling, always like this was always the end goal, was to get to the stage where like I get to choose what I want to do now, right? Like I get to choose what I want to do with my time. I get to choose what I want to do for work. I get to choose who I want to invest in as people. Like I just wanted freedom. That's all it was. It
was like, we're not super old. Like, so, I think like there was times where I fantasized like, oh, I'm just going to have the pina colada on the beach and stuff like that. You do that for a few months and then it just gets old. Like, I never thought I would be sick of eating like T-bone steaks and stuff like that, but I am. I'm literally, I am. I'm done, man.
They were meant for once in a while, so your taste buds can readjust. Because that's just so saturated that if you eat it all the time, your taste buds are just on crack all the time. They're like, I want that moisture.
Question for both of you guys, because
I want some steak.
I'm sure you guys have at least thought this through. Well, if I have, I would assume that you guys have thought this through. Everything is novelty at some point, so like there has to be happiness and fulfillment in the moment of the journey, right? Like, because getting to T-bone, getting to the $1 million whatever you want fucking shit, like that's novelty and it wears away very quickly. So where have you guys thought about that kind of stuff? Because it's not something that's talked about.
I think we look, people see some stuff online, but they don't really know us. Like, if you were like our true friends, you would really know like where our heart is and everything like that. And it's like, look, like I got like a $150 Apple Watch, $200 Apple Watch on. He's not wearing a Rolex. Like, these are all things that we could, and we love watches, and we could easily afford, like a 5-figure, 6-figure watch.
I don't know when that day ever comes.
When is it going to come? Because we really like investing. We like doing, what we do. And it is about the journey for us, Okay, so here's a funny story. So we're looking at penthouses and stuff like that, and I sent him one that it's pricey. Okay, it's a little pricey.
Definitely afford, but way too much. Like, no, let's go. He's like, no. So, and again, it's a yin yang thing. Like,
it is.
He wants to go out to the moon, and like I bring him back to reality, right? So, and yes, like being out here, like I want to live nicely. Like, I want to be able to enjoy some fruits of my labor and just be comfortable, especially now because like I have my wife as well. So like I want to make sure she's good, especially with uprooting her and her being supportive of that. Like, I want to make sure she's taken care of. So like we'll get a nice place, but that doesn't mean you have to go overboard and just get like an exorbitant, like, because I mean, at the end of the day, I do enjoy a nice place to stay and relax and be comfortable, but like I also do like to I always like get out, go and see new things. I like traveling. Like most people that follow me know that like I'm going to like every event. I'm going to new countries. Like I've never been like the stationary type in like one place. Like I don't like staying in just like my little palace and never leaving. Sorry, Richard. I do like to get out and see the world. I mean, I've seen a lot of the world, but I always want to see more. I want to meet new people. And so, like, I don't need a fucking palace to live in. And to me, it's just like throwing money out the window, especially being a real estate guy. This is the first time I've rented since, I don't know, I was like 19 or 20. Like, I've always just bought because I like, even if I'm going to go back in real estate, like, I love building equity and being able to leverage that. But, like, this will be the first time I've rented since I was like 20, I guess. So, like, well over a decade since I've rented an apartment. So, like, to me, it's like, it seems like such a waste, but it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not much, and it's just it's a convenience thing right now, but it's fun. I enjoy it. So that's what we're doing today, is looking at some places.
You know, we look forward, and it's like that for all of us, really. Like even the richest, one of us like hasn't bought the mansion yet, so we all just kind of like try to keep each other in check, and it is like a very like brotherly, competition where it's like, it's all about
not gonna catch some of our brothers.
Yeah, some of them.
It's the levels, right? It's funny, especially in the Hex ecosystem. It's just like, man, like once someone's just like a little bit too far ahead of you, it's almost possible to catch them.
T-shirts should do the work at that point.
Like a hater, like, oh, I'm gonna
that's where you can let them be like,
are you? I don't think so.
That's where you'd be like, yeah, go ahead and buy that. Go ahead and buy that like $25 million penthouse, bro. Like the dude who's
financial drain. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Oh, you just mentioned Motley. You just mentioned the leveraging the equity from the real estate, and so I
don't agree with that in crypto.
What do you mean?
Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
So
Sam.
Yeah, we know. We talked about it off camera.
Okay, so talk to me. So when you think about,
hold on, let Sam go. Okay, and we'll discuss it.
If you think I used to trade options, and that's how I bought this house, right? From the profits from the options trading. And when you look at the payoff of a call option, a long call option, it's just going to be like this.
Right.
And if you look at structure like that, there's a cost, right? You pay a premium to buy that option. Just like if you have a contracted business, you need to add a clause. Like, yeah, we'll do that for this concession, right? And you can add that to it for a certain fee or some type of like give and take type of thing. Well,
hoping it pays off in the future.
Yes, and you can, and if one person has a belief that Hex is going to have a higher future value, right? Then you can structure something where you get this type of payoff with using other people's money and not having to pay any premium on it, which is insane. Like you think about how an option payoff works, and you pay a premium, right? If you want multiple contracts or different strike prices, you're going to pay higher premiums. Well, you can structure this from fiat to crypto, where you don't have to pay that premium, but you can still get the payout like this, where it's like a hockey stick, where it's flat basically, and then it's just like this, using crypto. And because there's an 80% drop roughly, it removes a lot of the risk because you've already taken out a lot of the exuberance out of the market because they're down 80%.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think that, and then you go lower, and then that's what experience
goes lower. It can go 50% off 80%.
Correct, but you can still, so it goes down another 80%. Okay, cool. And like you're already down at that point, and you have to be okay with losing your premium.
Right? I like to consider this when I think about this when you're talking to the audience, especially like crypto. Like this is like, it gets very dangerous because we saw this last cycle, right? Like back in 2016, 2017, you get in this hyper bullish phase. Everyone sees this, even if it's low, like you're saying, 8%, and people are just taking out loans. Like maybe they're not doing it, and usually, honestly, they're not doing it the right way, or they're not figuring out ways to optimize it. But you got to understand just the behavior of it. It's just, for a lot of people, it's going to create unwanted stress. They might not have the proper revenue flows in place to supplement that loan. It just, to me, it just ends up as a recipe for disaster, especially with you can get away with it a little bit better and real estate and everything like that, if you know how to manage it, probably crypto, just with that beautiful volatility, like it is just ultimately a double-edged sword. Like it cuts both ways, whether it's seen in crazy run-ups or crazy, just absolute death. Right. And I've just seen too many times where people start leveraging their crypto, and it just cuts people. If you trust me, even if you think you have the golden way to do it, crypto will prove you wrong. It'll find a way to chop you at the kneecap.
Even if it doesn't, the stress, like the ruined days for what, and like, I mean, I remember doing like, I remember being like, oh yeah, the obvious thing is like, right before the halving, you take a leverage, position on Bitcoin by, just not actually like going on an exchange and like leveraging it, but like lending your Bitcoin, getting cash, then buying like Ethereum or something like that, and it's like, it's not worth the risk. And like, that's why, like, if you look at most people who've made it, like almost everyone says to dollar cost average. Why do they say that? Because we've been here for years and we know. And like, okay, so for example, if I had a leverage long on ETH, yeah, I would have done amazing. But guess what? Guess what happened in 2019? You know what happened in 2019? Hex came along. Okay. And if I had call options and not actually ETH in my wallet, then I couldn't have invested Hex on day one.
ETH you would way down to $80. Would have wrecked every position. Every position got wrecked in ETH down there. Like no one thought we were going that.
Dude, going from 1420 to 88.
95% drop is nuts.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna try it in some capacity. No, I appreciate it.
Like, and there's a cool way that you preface that too, right? In some capacity, you don't like you're smart enough, Sam, that like you're probably going to know your limits, and you're not going to go like bulk. Like the problem with most people is just the human greed factor takes over, and they over. And it's the thing with leverage. They're always going to over leverage themselves. 99% of the people they over leverage themselves. They might not be familiar with what they're doing, the asset class they're in, any of that stuff. They're just unprepared. Like anything in life, if you're unprepared, you're setting yourself up for failure. And then leverage just amplifies it, right? It amplifies the upside. It amplifies the downside. So like, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to just get wrecked that much faster.
To me, like crypto's the golden ticket anyway.
You don't need the leverage.
You need more than a 10,000x. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
like, you need more than like these like 100x, 1,000.
You don't have enough skin in the game anyway. So.
You don't have enough skin in the game, or you have like some mental problems that you need to work through. That's the way I see it. Because like
pitfalls elsewhere.
Exactly. Like it's like vices and stuff like that. Like if you really want to make it in crypto, you need to be disciplined. And
correct. And you have to be able to, like what you were talking about, like it doesn't matter if it works out or not. It's not going to affect me in one way because I can pay for the bills. Like this is definitely not a recommendation that anybody.
I've also told me I've said the same thing to myself, and I didn't like paying the bills later. I'll just tell you that. I wish I would have not done it, and if I would have just had more ammo to just buy at the lows and stuff, instead of being leveraged up. It just, to me, it was terrible. And
I can take his hat off. He barely has any hair left. So.
True. You should see how I look before crypto, bro.
Well, do you want to share?
Everyone gets broke. So like
golden
No. Do you want to share your?
In hindsight, everyone gets broke.
Maybe not leverage. Why? There was other like exploits and stuff along the way, losing, like
tough lessons you have to learn.
Started millions of dollars. But like, truthfully, I would tell anybody, dollar cost in, lower your bills, work harder, and you will and do the research, and you will make it in crypto. Like there's you will be a multimillionaire. Like how rich do you need to be? Like,
why not?
To me, if most people follow that train of thought, there's a good chunk that are going to get wrecked. If you do what I'm saying, nobody's going to get, like very minimally.
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like if you have the golden ticket, why are you gambling with the golden ticket? You know what I'm saying? It's like
that fire.
You imagine eating like the girl of your dream. It doesn't get better than this, and then you cheat on her with a fat chick. Yeah, maybe you don't get caught. It
was cool to bust real quick, but like, was it worth it in the long run?
Was it worth it to risk that? You playing with the golden ticket, man. Don't play with fire.
And if you do it,
that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity.
You'll do it again, and then I always say it's just a bad habit. Really, like a lot of people can do well doing it, but if you look in hindsight, why is nobody rich? Because they all sold their shit.
That's why Wendy's was saying like that.
Well, they don't invest.
Take a look in on yourself and see what habits you probably need to clean up. Because like again, if the 10x isn't good enough for you, there's other deficiencies in your life that you need to clean up first, right? Like that becomes very apparent that there's clearly some stuff you have to shore up before you're going to be able to be successful. Because if you realize those kinds of gains and you find yourself falling back in the same position, you're making mistakes elsewhere. So
Correct,
I
100%.
agree with that a lot.
There's so many
It's-
people that are like, oh, I wish I was an OG. I wish this. And it's like, you don't have any idea what it was like back then. You know, like buying, it felt a lot more risky, right? Like the word rug pull was like something that was heard every day by Hexicans, right?
hey, but he's like DCAing into Hex early on was fun. I was the same way. Like every day I got excited to like see how much ETH people put in the lobby. I was like, all right, I'm going to sacrifice this much. And it was a good time. Those
Fucking
DCA
Wild West.
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, everyone was getting rugged. No one knew if Hex was going to survive. All the copycats trying to leech off the audience, off the community. It was, it was entertaining times back then. It was wild.
Well, like navigating through crypto is like a minefield. So like adding anything else, like also like, walking with like hot grenades in your hands is just like
And yourself on fire and then trying to get through the minefield, it's a little bit harder.
Here's another thing, right? So like, you had the Hex, right? Like if you're having call options, well, now you don't have anything liquid to sacrifice for his next project that he's going to do.
That's assuming you put everything into something. But yes, if somebody does that, I think that's not super tough.
And you just got to be aware again of that nature though of using leverage. You start getting into the more degen side of this space and people, and like most people aren't going to be as regulated and restrained as you are, right? Like, and I think that a lot of this comes with your bodybuilding background and your work ethic and stuff like that. You can show that discipline that 99% of people probably lack, right? So it might work for you.
So I also think about right, Apple, they got like $250 billion cash, right, roughly on the balance sheet, and yet they still use leverage, right, because it's beneficial to do so from a tax perspective, whether they need to do it or not. So even if they're using, I think they took out like a $90 billion loan or something, right? And they've got $250 billion sitting there. Like, why do you do that kind of stuff? Not because you need to, because there's other reasons to do those things above and beyond. Like as soon as you guys started taking action to like put together a fund of some sort, you realized probably that there's a lot of other synergistic benefits to doing that. Like, oh, now we are closer friends. Oh, now we're learning this, and we're bringing other people in. We're networking people in the community. Right. So I see like all these giant companies that are going through and they're using leverage in an intelligent way. But it goes back to what Molly was saying. There has to be some type of discipline. And what you were saying too, Wendy's, like
you're comparing Apple to the crypto market.
You're a little muffled.
Having a
Your mic's not registering.
Me?
No, both.
Oh, now it seems better.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was going.
Go ahead.
I was saying that like leverage for Apple or like leverage on a house is completely different, right? Like very few people that are mostly leveraged up in real estate, or maybe they bought like farmland and they're leasing it out. Those people are not like losing sleep at night. Crypto's completely different. And I'm not saying you never use leverage. Like obviously you buy a car on leverage, right? Like it's the same thing. But what I'm saying is in crypto, DCAing is better for you have to realize like there's potentially hundreds or thousands of people that are going to see this, and you have to kind of be like cognizant of like, what behaviors do you want to promote in the future? And like exactly, because we've seen enough death and turmoil. Yeah, I've seen people really hurt. I've seen people that have killed themselves. Yeah, that have killed them. I've been in long enough to know like I've had people message me that they were going to kill themselves because of crypto. Okay, so like I take this like very seriously, like, and I don't want to.
I appreciate. Yeah,
I don't want to promote things that that could like seriously hurt people, especially in our community, right? I want these people to succeed. And I only speak from experience because I've done it myself. I've had huge positions. I've done it with smaller positions. I've seen them get wrecked, and it fucking sucks, right? Like seeing your friend get like destroyed. Like I've seen him in a coin before that, like he was killing it, right? Like just crushing everything. Ungodly amounts of money. Like I was just it's never enough. It's not like, when is it enough? You know what I mean? And you have to recognize that, it's like at what point you're taking so much risk you're making. Because think about this. So like he was, and like I don't want to say too much, but like he was making an ungodly amount of money,
And like I was doing the fucking boring, slow and steady turtle race shit, right? Like the DCA we're talking about. And like, you know, I was looking up to him because I was just like, I mean, rightfully so. He was doing a lot of cool stuff, but I was like, he's making stuff that I couldn't even wrap my minds around with. And sometimes like during these dips and lulls and hex and sideways action, you get bored, right? And you see in the community infighting, people crying, like when is price going to go up? And you just don't understand. Like it's just a long-term game. And this is why you have to put that macro lens on when you're looking at this stuff. And like, even then I was in like awe of watching what he was doing. It's like, that's nuts. And then the project that he was investing in went to shit. It literally just went to fucking shit. And I just watch it blow up. And I saw him fucking like start stressing out.
Oh, I literally had to start taking pills.
Yeah, he was taking medication because it was just too much. And then it clicked for me again, right? Sometimes you just need that reminder. It's like, I don't want to ever be in that position. I don't want people that I care about to be in that position. It's just not good for your health, right? And this is the thing that Richard talks about. What good is all the money and the girls and the drugs and the Lambos if you don't live and have a healthy lifestyle to enjoy it on the way there? Like, no, it's not worth shit. Like, you're just got to put yourself in an early grave. It's just not. It's not conducive for a happy life.
And was that Wendy's? You were into something, and you got destroyed on the price, and that was hard for you.
I still made money. Like I got out before, you know, like I lost everything. But like, man, if you knew how much money I was making a day, like, son, lose 8 figures in a month and then come at me, you know, like it's a feeling that is goddamn terrible.
Well, and your other friend never recovered from it.
Yeah, he never recovered. Yeah, it was crazy. There were so many people that were just like getting wrecked, and like crypto's not easy, man. And it's like,
it's not kind.
It's not kind. And you like there's this, I say this a lot, like anybody can make money in crypto, okay? But number one, can you keep it? And number two, can you do it consistently? Because it is not easy. There's a lot of projects that do very well and die. There's a lot of projects that never do well. They never go up, right? And so you have to really know, like, you know, what you're doing. You're going to make some mistakes. So you have to be very, very disciplined. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do the wrong things, like it could kill you, because, you know, like you don't know how you're going to react to, you know,
100% until you're in that situation.
That situation, you know, and it's like, you know, like the kid that killed himself on Robinhood, you know, and I had like, I was using Robinhood, and I had a crazy bug one day, and it said that I was dipping below. I never used leverage on Robinhood, and it said that like you were about to get liquidated. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was like I had a ton of money on there, and I was like, oh my God. So like, but it was a bug. But so I ended up like selling tons of shit, because I was like, oh my God, I got to like cover this, you know. Crazy.
So what was that time like for you, right? So you mentioned 8 figures.
I was on pills, bro. Like it didn't get worse.
Not good.
It's rock bottom.
Not good.
Rock bottom. I probably was like not eating, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And yeah,
no, because I think that's important to share that your experience going through that. Like,
so the guy that we hired, I met him in that community, and he sold his car. He sold his car, and guess what? He doesn't have a car anymore. Sorry, Nikki.
Sorry, Nikki.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's tough, man. And I remember, like, he was in vacation on his girl's
hey, there
birthday.
He is.
His girl's birthday, and I called him up and I said, bro, I think it's done. You know, like take the money, take the money and run. And he's like, yeah,
don't worry, you employ him now.
Yeah, that's true.
But so you're putting this into context. So this is
fuck, and he's like punching the steering wheel. Fuck. It's like his girlfriend. Like, I met his girlfriend in person not long ago, and she was like, yeah, you know, that was like the worst day of my life, like my birthday. You ruined my birthday. And I was like, well, I could have let it go to 0 before calling him.
And then this is also a point where people get it confused of like that maxi mentality, right? Like it's not maxi mentality just to like mainly promote Hex and Richard Hart products. It's just like, we know how dangerous, and 99% is just dog shit. And it's just like, I don't want to see my friend
fucking lose his car. I don't want to see my friend have to go on depression pills. I don't want to see my friend
Correct.
contemplate suicide. Like, I mean, all that shit is fucking awful. And most of that is derived from this shithole of a space because it's very broken. A lot of the stuff is just geared to just take people and separate them from their money. Like, again, going back to leverage, it's what it's geared for. Ultimately, the person in between you and the money setting up that leverage is the one that wins, not us, not the people, right? Like this is the stuff that we have to change. And this is why I so ferociously promote Richard and his products, because it's changing this space for the better, what it was supposed to be from the start. We were trying to get away from this government and this middleman and all these people that just hurt the people, right? Like the masses. Like this is why we're here. It's bigger than just a financial product. It's bigger than something that as simple as people think it's just leverage. But that's the slippery slope that you fall into, and you end up just never getting ahead again because you wreck yourself ultimately.
I think there's like a big difference between, you know, like we're not maxis either, but you got to be careful on what you promote, right? Because like there's a big difference between a guy who like goes to a casino, right? Like let's say all of us go to the casino, right? And I got 300 in my pocket. Motley's got 500. Sam's got 100, and Jim Rat just walks in. He's like, this is where I make my money. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, this is where I'm gonna get it. You know, and if I don't get it this time, I'm gonna get it next time. Well, I'm going in with my $300, and I'm saying like, this is all I'm willing to lose, right? So if you're playing around in crypto like that, and you say like, okay, like this is where I can make the serious money. Like this is the safer stuff. This is where I'm gonna put like my true money at. And then you say like Shiba Rock, Inu, paper, scissors, you know, whatever. Like I'm gonna throw 200 at it. That's a whole nother thing because that's entertainment. But if you lose that, if you're emotional about it at all, you did too much, right?
Correct.
That was a casino game.
And you knew that, and you knew that going in.
And you knew that going in.
Hopefully.
So yeah. So
some don't.
So what I'm saying is like there's people that promote these casino things, right? Like it's a good investment. Like you can make a lot of money. When in fact a lot of people just get wrecked,
and so they're disguised. They can be disguised as well, because sometimes
those people will never tell you when they're going to sell. By the way, they're just going to dump on you. So my and these are like really illiquid shit coins half the time, right? So like my thing is like I don't have anything against meme coins. I think they're hilarious to an extent. Like as like if you're going to gamble, I would rather throw $200 on Sheeb than like potentially like lose it. Yeah,
I'd rather buy Doge than Bitcoin right now.
Well, yeah, see, there it is.
I was looking at the chart. I was like, Doge is kind of in the buy zone. Like, I don't buy any of that shit, but I was just looking at it, like.
Right, you could have convinced me to buy Bitcoin
in a video, Sam. I was thinking of comparing the two in a video. You think that'd be a good video, Sam? No, I was just saying. Let's see. Would you rather buy Doge or Bitcoin and then do a standalone video on that?
And what you can do is you could allocate some funds, buy both, right, and then watch their performance and see how you do. And then you can do a follow-up video.
Yeah, that is the content right there. Is the journey
real quick, I want to say on this channel, I have totally taken a little bit of a cheat from doing the project reviews because I just had my mind when things aren't out yet. I just, other than what Richard's created, I don't care what anyone says. The same exact reason they said, I'm scared of people losing all their money. And I'm afraid that they're going to be like, wait, that dude was on here and y'all were laughing and joking. And I'm going to be like, whoopsie, I shouldn't have been laughing and joking. Even if I said in the beginning, don't do this unless you do your own research, which of course I would say. Nobody listens to that. They just remember me geeking out with the dude.
Or what if they just came in a minute or two later too, right? Like maybe they don't go back and watch the video.
Exactly.
People go back and watch it from the start.
What I do on here. I want stuff on paper. I want to be able to pull up shit on here when there's something out. You can always talk and joke about stuff and like theorize. But when it says, all right, let's put our money somewhere, I'm getting a little nervous about saying like,
yeah,
anywhere. I get nervous because it's like your reputation.
Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of streamers have realized over time doing this, right? Like you have to realize at a certain point, like you do carry some weight, even if it's unintentional. And you just have to think, even if something as simple as like Sam bringing up leverage and like, oh, I think I can do it safely, right? And like maybe he can, right? But there's all the people he's talking to right now, maybe there's a couple of people that can't, or they're going to put themselves in a precarious spot that they're just not going to be getting out of. And then they find themselves in trouble, right? They find themselves losing their car, getting stressed out, contemplating stuff they should never be crossing their mind. And so always have to take a step back, and this goes with anything in life, and just look at yourself, look at what you're doing, especially if you carry any voice or weight in a community.
you gotta be careful.
You bring on responsibilities that maybe you don't even necessarily want, but it just is what it is. It goes with the title. So sometimes you just have to be retrospective and look back and just like, okay, I need to be a little bit more careful about how I go about this or what I say. And just, again, as long as you say true and sincere and like you mean well for people, you can still even go down the wrong path sometimes if you're not careful on what you're promoting, saying, or anything like that. You just, ultimately, we want everyone to be successful and everyone to do well, right? So you just have to be careful.
And that can
even when we're having fun on stream,
that can even be like what you talk shit on. Like, so there's plenty of things that like I don't like, but I don't necessarily say it on stream and stuff. I'll tell somebody in the DM if they ask me like, what do you think about this? I'll give you my honest opinion, but like I don't say it on stream because it's like, even like Richard said, right? Like I don't want to like influence anybody to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna dump here, or I'm gonna do this. And like Richard says, like, oh, you want me to call the top, like, and say this is the top? That will make the top, right? Because he has tons of influence.
People that literally follow him for his calls that he makes once or twice a year. It's just like, I don't know how to be any more clear. It's like, hey guys, we fell out of the parabola. And everyone's like, well, you didn't call the top. It's like, I'm sorry, you're too stupid. couldn't spell it out for you, but I can't literally just say, hey, this is the top. It's just, he realizes that he carries weight in this space. And he has to be careful with that because it's going to hurt people. It will probably happen. He's trying to help by give a warning, but he can't just come out right and say like, hey, this is the top, sell. And that's going to carry weight in this space. So again, he's very cautious, and you see that with really intelligent people too, is they're very careful of what they say. They articulate well, and they think about what they're going to say before, instead of just going into this like rambling mode and just spitting out shit nonstop. And then they're not giving any thought process to what they're actually saying. Richard could do it at a higher level and quicker than most, but most people take their time and are deliberate in their speech to make sure they don't say stuff like that can really harm people.
100%. I think what Wendy's had mentioned earlier is something we should definitely highlight. Everybody can do a good job. You guys both talked about it in your behavior, and I was on the phone this morning talking to my buddy about it, where like going through and cutting back your expenses, or just living it below your expenses. However you want to do that, get to that spot and stay in that spot and just work on maximizing that margin between those two things is like,
we saw that with David, right?
Yeah,
we brought that out earlier, that video.
Yeah.
Like, that is about as extreme as you can go in one direction. Like, he was willing to live in essentially a box that he couldn't stand up in, that had a bed. He put a green screen up, and he was eating like gruel, in my opinion. Like, he was eating the same thing day in, day out. And there's just about no other way he could reduce his expenses anymore. Like, he took it to the extreme, and like people are going to find themselves anywhere between that range. And then the guy that's over there blowing his money on Ferraris, Lambos, hookers, blow, you name it. And then there's just a healthy range for certain individuals. But like Abid is, I always love to go back, and that's why I brought that video last time. It's just like, he's the perfect example of like, oh, you think you're sacrificing? You ain't sacrificing shit.
Right.
Let me show you sacrifice.
100%. Because I told people all the time, it was like, I had people that felt bad for me when I was working. Okay.
correct.
Bro, you can eat something besides a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, there was people.
You don't need to work so much, man. You don't need to work 3 jobs. Like,
yeah, there was older ladies who would like bring me food, and I said like, I can like buy food. I just choose not to. And they're like, no, I know, but you won't do it for yourself, so I'm gonna make you food.
That's cool.
And so now, now that I got money, like I've taken them out, to dinner, and I'm like, hey, get whatever you want. I'm like bringing champagne bottles and stuff like that.
That shit feels good.
And they're like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, because like I remember what
you helped me when I was
like you didn't have to do that, and I was grinding, but I was living like nobody else would on the low end. So now that I can live like nobody else does on the upper end, right? And so everybody just wants the nice. They say, oh, like I get like all these like Facebook messages. Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah, and it's like, well, you don't want to do what I did, because you weren't sacrificing your Saturday. For me, it was like every day. I only had Wednesdays off, so you're not sacrificing. All my friends were going out. All my friends were doing stuff. Where all of them are at now. I had friends that were like, they probably had like a net worth under $10,000, and they're staying at the Ritz-Carlton. I've still never stayed at the Ritz-Carlton.
Fuck no.
You know what I'm saying?
This is where crypto gets tricky, right? Because people think this is where you get rich quick, but it's not. Like Richard says, it's like the people that you can, but it's the people that hodl, and found a project. That's it. Those are the people that get rich. And not only do you just have to hodl long term, you have to find the right asset in the minefield. You have to go walk through the mines and find that perfect little daisy to go pick up and hope that you don't blow off your hand or your leg along the way. Like, it's hard. Yeah. So like, you have to, you can get successful. You can become rich faster than any other asset class known to man, but you're going to traverse the minefield, and hopefully you have the right teachers. Hopefully you're able to go out and seek the right information, because that's a valuable skill most people don't have these days. They just rely on others too heavily. Even us, right? Like, if you're just listening to us, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're still not going out there and getting all the sources. Like, either one of us, we're not enough. You have to continue to go out there and seek that information. And in this space, the more information you have, the better chance of success you're going to have. And it's pretty simple. And like, I love seeing people that come to our ecosystem first, because I know they're getting a leg up and a head start over 99% of the space.
I mean, most of it's like, people are just going to get wrecked. You know, it's like, it's crazy. Like the tokens that like I was showing Motley when we were in Europe, like I was getting texts every day. Remember about like Shiba Inu when it was like towards the top. And I'm like, do not buy this right now. Like, if you want to buy this, do not buy it right now. Just wait. And like, it was every day. It was every single day. I was like, are you kidding me? It was like always somebody other way, like my cousin, you know, hey, I heard you're really good. You know, you do really good in crypto. You know, what do you think about Shiba? And I'm like, bro, like, if you want to throw some money in it, today is not the day. And that was like literally the top, like when they were all messaging me. So.
No, I think that is definitely a bias, because I was not in crypto, and then I come into crypto and I find people to talk to that like are, generally speaking, from the distance that I'm at, or seem like they're good, and I'm like, oh, other people who have good habits. Oh, other people who have discipline. Oh, other people who like to think for themselves and find their own fucking information, right? And then I get to see that as the first look, versus like, you guys have been in the community, in other communities, in other areas, so you've seen things in areas where it's not like that, versus like, I get to see people, generally speaking, a lot of those people that I've interacted with seem to be intelligent, seem to be slightly thoughtful, seem to be trying to make intelligent, good moves in their life and have discipline and be better about what they achieve in their like different facets of their life, whether it's for relationships or financially.
What do you think about my performance, Sam?
I've literally been able to see you grow over the last 3 or 4 years. I've been able to.
Crazy, dude. I was begging you for advice because I got my heart broken by some chick. I remember. I was like, you know, well, he might have not known that I was heartbroken as much, but I was like, I want to be a bodybuilder, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's how I was kind of going about it.
Like, you're coping with it. Yeah. Like, I'll show her.
And then I hit him. And then I was like, this dude's legit. Like, he studies stuff and nobody tells him that he needs to study them. And why is he doing this? And I was just like, I just put the pieces together that like, you can just learn stuff. Like, people never really convinced me that like, they made learning seem like some hard thing. Like, if you don't have a degree, like, you really can't learn too much. I was like, you know, they just kind of had that like mindset, or at least I had that mindset, you know what I mean? Like, from whatever my experiences were. But I got arrested anyway, so I had no chance to go to college.
It's cool. It's cool to see the perspective here, right? Because you get to talk to, say, Wendy's or Motley or plenty of other people, and then also GRC, and you get to see. So everybody's on their own journey and their own way and working towards finding their own path, but everybody has a different level of confidence within themselves. And as they continue on their journey, I think of confidence as a thing that's not so you have it or you don't have it. Confidence comes through making those decisions to follow through on the actions or the things that you say to yourself. So the more you take those actions on the things that you say you're going to do, it's like, oh, I'm going to clean up my desk, and you don't clean up your desk. Okay, cool. Well, you're decreasing your confidence in yourself. And so to see that from different angles and everybody's on their own journey is cool. And everybody's, at least in this peripheral view or like way outside of everybody else of interacting with people in this crypto space is nice to see how everybody's going through and helping each other and promoting, at least from my point of view, not everybody, but a lot of things are promoted in an intelligent way of like doing things that are the right way in my approach to like life, the right way or thoughtful way to actually achieve success. Like just getting your finances under control right there is you're going to be ahead of 97% of the population, right? Like doing things like that, taking care of your physical health, right? You're going to be way ahead of a lot of people, right? And just doing things like that are just great strategies to have. I want to acknowledge both of you guys for coming on here and sharing your thoughts on everything and just being open and honest about what you're doing, but also around your thoughts about like what I'm doing. I think that's awesome. I appreciate both your time. I have to run, but hopefully I get to talk to you guys again in the future. And if there's anything I can help with or thoughts.
We got time.
Yes.
Richard Martin monetized it for us, so we're good.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your time out there while you're out there. You guys find a nice penthouse or whatever it is you're looking for.
Trying.
All right, GSC, I'll talk to you soon.
Later, Sam.
Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace, brother. Sam can go for days, man.
I love Sam.
He is the man.
He's a good dude.
He's very motivated.
Was it you that pretty much brought him into the community, right? It was you that got him in here?
Just directly. I just called him and I was like, dude, I know you're a freaking guy that likes rabbit holes. Like, you want to go down one, brother?
I'll give you one hell of a rabbit hole.
I was like, bro, if you start doing this shit, like,
you're going to be addicted.
Because I know him, right? So it wasn't like I was talking to my brother where it was like, put some money in. I was like, bro, if you learn this shit, like, you're not going to do what you were doing before any longer.
We're all very similar, right? Like I talked about this last time. It's like, it's very clear that all of us have very obsessive personalities. Like when we find stuff that we're passionate about or that we like we dive deep. Like we might not ever come out of that rabbit hole again.
I hope I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't want to, right? Like I've said, like, this is like, it's really nice when you find something that you're truly passionate about, right? Like I thought I was really passionate about real estate because at the time, like that was my way to get ahead. That was going to be the thing that bought back my freedom. I still always kept an open eye, right? And this goes again back to the kind of maxi conversation we have. I'm always on the lookout. It doesn't matter if I think I have the perfect thing at the time. I'm always looking for just something a little bit better, something to improve my life so I can improve others. And man, when I found Hex, that's why I was just ready for it. Like all the preparedness was there, all the education was there, everything up to that point in my life had been done. All the prep work had been done. So like when you put in the work and then you just see something like Hex, it just clicks, right? Like when I see people that don't quite get Hex, it's not necessarily that you're smarter than them or they're just stupid. It's just they might have not done the work or they might not have had enough life experience or wisdom to understand what's really going on in the world today. Like there's something missing where it just doesn't click for them. And it's just because they haven't gotten to that path in their journey. So it's good for you to sit back, have that conversation with them if you have the time, because it takes time, right? Like to dig down and figure out where people's fallacies are or figure out where like their lack of knowledge is. And you have to be the one that provides that information for them, or at least set them on the path for them to seek it out themselves, or it's never going to click, right? And this is where people struggle when it comes to promoting Hex, selling Hex, what have you. It's just there's a lot of people in this world that haven't put in the work like a lot of us have already and just don't understand where value comes from or how valuable your time is or any of this stuff. Like it takes a lifetime of experience for some people to get that wisdom to really open their eyes. And if you can expedite that process for them and bring them along for the journey, bruh, they'll be ever thankful for you. Like the friends I got in Hex, like I get thank yous, lifelong like indebtedness, like they'll be lifelong friends forever, right? Because like I gave them a gift that no one else can give them, right? Like they're so grateful. It's like becoming like a mini Richard Hart of what like he receives on a daily basis. Yes, you're gonna get haters, you're gonna get all this shit along the way, but what makes it really worthwhile is the stuff you can't buy, like those true from the heart thank yous and people that you really changed their life. Like how many people get to say that? You can't just do that because you have a big fat checkbook, right? You can buy them cool toys and all that stuff, but giving back them their time and their freedom, that shit's invaluable and they'll be forever grateful for it. So like in a way, you know, you're selfish in the fact that you get that feel good that you can't get any other means. You can't buy it. You can't do any of this. It's just earned. You have to earn it. Like, and then, man, that shit feels good.
It takes time, but can be difficult.
Oh yeah. Hold on 1 second. We got to talk.
Let the boys work it out for a sec. They're chilling, guys. Wow, what an episode! This has been absolutely incredible. So much information. Oh, so bullish. I'm so bullish. I'm so bullish. I'm so bullish. I'm bullish on all of this shit right here. This channel, bullish. Motley and his stuff, bullish. Wendy's, bullish. I'm having the time of my life. I don't give a shit about money right now. Obviously, to DCA and to Hex, I do care about money. But as far as I've got my bills down to $800 per month. $800 per month I've got my bills down to. I'm not partying. I'm not going out drinking. I ain't doing shit except balling with you guys every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please do, because I'm almost at 1,000. I think. Let's check. I'm going to check right now. Hold on one second. We are at 953, guys. 953 with 100 watching. I'm no YouTuber, but those aren't the numbers we're looking for. Let's go.
You're close, bro. You're close. Almost
Very
there.
close.
Dude, it's so fun to like have a stupid goal that I can just like attack.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what
it's
I mean?
good, right?
It's
Gives you
fun.
a destination, and something as simple as just like I want 1,000 subs, right? Like it's just gonna give you a pathway and a drive and a direction. Like people don't understand, like setting goals are important. Like even if there's something that's really as trivial as just like I want 1,000 subs, cool, you hit it, you achieve your goal, and then you're like, all right, what's the next goal? Like I want 5,000, I want 10,000, or maybe it's something completely different, right? But setting those goals so you progress and grow is very important. Nice. So stupid.
What?
Nothing.
Good,
Wendy's-
don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No,
Yes.
definitely not.
Good time. Hey, cryptographics, dude. Your channel. Hey,
No, you're good. I was done with my point, but what were you gonna say? You were asking something while we were off about Jim Rat's expenses being.
Oh yeah. I
800?
was gonna say, is 800 including your food?
yes.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
That's probably-
and
that's
I
probably
pay
a majority of it.
$200
That's
for
probably
car
about half the
insurance.
bill.
Well, no, but my expenses. I also have renters, so like they cut like way into all my expenses.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
pretty much like the reason that it's possible.
Okay, so you're set. Okay, so you're using that as like supplementing it. Okay.
I mean, I got
Yes, like, I need
got my bills
$800.
so- my bills were so cheap at one point. I mean, I remember like
At one
every
point.
day. Well, yeah, they're still cheap, but every day, like I would like unplug the like everything in my house, like the computer, the TV, like everything.
It's
And-
fun.
It's
fun.
crazy. And like I got it down to like $50 a month or something like that. And I was like couponing for like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I got like my the sandwiches down to 15
Couponing
cents a
for
sandwich.
PB and J's.
Yeah, dude. I lived on them for like a year or two. Like crazy. I mean,
How did your body
I
respond?
like
to the
peanut butter
PB?
sandwiches. They're
They're
delicious.
still good.
I eat them
Yeah,
all
they're
day.
still
No,
good.
I mean, like, did your body have any negative response to eating similar foods all the time?
yeah, I was fat as fuck.
You should see his driver's license.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
A fat
I lost-
boy for sure.
I lost like 70 when I retired. I lost like 70 pounds, bro. Like the first time I had a 6-pack, like crazy.
And you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
Everything.
We're all
was-
getting 6-pack ready, guys. This summer, I'm gonna be. By the time it's warm again, I'll be like totally cool on the channel. Like, won't have to work so hard at the other
I'm
shit.
pudgy right now, man. I got to get back at it. But
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I'm gonna do like I'm gonna figure out how to make videos. Like this guy's helping me out by sending me a vlogging camera that I can borrow, and I'm going to start vlogging and letting people know what I'm doing. Because right now I'm not fit for me right now, unfortunately. So like I do like a really severe. If I'm gonna be outside with my shirt off, you better believe I'm gonna be the most ripped one. That's just the way I am. I've just been, I'm a bodybuilder dude. So it's like. But yeah, I get really into it. And when I'm into it, I'm so focused that I think the videos will be better. Because right now I'm just a little bit like doing this more so with most of my time. But anyways, this has been an amazing show. I think, do you guys have anything that you want to promote directly that's going on at the moment? Or anything cool in the Hex community or anything?
Hexmerch.com if you want to go buy some stuff.
they're also doing the like $100 credit
100K Hex. Oh, well, yeah. If you want to, we're looking at redesign the logo. So $100 gift card if you want to design the new Hex merch logo. Let's see. Cool thing for everyone. I think you had them on their channel the other day, but Coffee Crypto Stylist and K for K is doing the 100K hex giveaway for the best TikTok video. So that's a lot of hex, especially if you're new. So definitely, I mean, give it a shot, right, guys? Like I get it. It might be tough, but like go give it a shot. What hurts from trying? Like that's a lot of hex to get for free, essentially. I think Crypto Stylist is trying to grow her channel, so go follow her. Follow us at Legion. Like I said, we kind of went over all the projects and stuff we're working on right now. But I mean, the biggest thing is just get ready for the mainnet launch, because like I don't want to say we're close because like no one really knows, but it feels like it, right? Like we 2.5 version 2B or whatever is going well. I think once we get version 3, I mean, I think that's pretty much your go signal, even if Richard doesn't say anything, right? Like version 3 is just, hey, make sure everything's run smoothly. The sacrifice phases, like Richard already gave the hard deadline, that's over. Do not sacrifice any more money. Like it's too bad, too sad. Like they've been done for a long time now. Like you're just giving a donation to the Richard Hardy.
Wait, guys, just wait. Like chill out. You want to have that fiat. If you actually have fiat, just wait. Like you can still make moves.
And it's great too, because I mean that FOMO just shows you the anticipation. And it's just the ones that have been in hex since the beginning, we saw the same thing, right? A lot of us fell prey to it. So be careful on day one, especially because ratio trading, there's not going to be a bridge. You're not going to know the value you're getting. Just be careful. It's all going to be here. You feel like you missed out and it hasn't even launched, right? Like these products do not exist. They haven't proven themselves yet.
It's sickening. The FOMO that Richard Hart has created is absolutely mind-bending.
DCA, it's boring, right? Okay, cool. Find a way to make it fun for yourself. But DCA, it's easy. You don't have to sit there and try to time the market. We're going to have a crazy pump. People talk about, we might rip from the gate 10, 20x, whatever. We're going to dip, right? People are going to take profits. They're going to take profits. They're going to reallocate into the stuff they want to. Cool. If you're DCA in, you'll be able to be a part of that dip. Your cost average is going to go down. Just be smart and realize, like, again, put that macro lens on, like look long-term. Like it was the same way with Hex. Like if you bought early on Hex, you were wrecked for a very long time as far as price was concerned. Like it took, unless you continue to DCA and lower your cost average over time, then you were able to buy at the all-time lows if you were doing that DCA strategy. So it's going to be the same thing with pulsex and pulsechain. You continue to DCA, you're probably going to hit some peaks, but you're going to hit the all-time lows. And then when you hit those all-time lows, you get to also appreciate those all-time highs from all the way down the bottom, all the way to the top. And you realize that 10,000x gain plus all the interest along the way. So, and with pulsex and pulsechain, it'll just be a different form of yield. So it's going to be fun. Just be ready for it. If you're new to this, go get some practice on the test net.
Should we talk about what?
Yeah. Do you want to?
I mean, I guess we could talk about it.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Got something else.
Yeah, there's something else in it, but it's very.
I'll just let you guys work that out over there.
And I just gotta cattle prod this guy into doing it. So we'll
it's
see.
Cool. I'm glad you guys.
We'll talk about it later though.
I will be covering the pulse chain launch, everything that's occurring every single day while it's occurring. That's my role. I'm just going to be doing that. So that's okay. I'm excited to have something cool to do. Literally, like I'm like, wow, I can help all these people because in the morning when they're drinking their coffee, maybe I can just summarize what's going on for them rather than them having to sporadically look all over the internet all day, because it is kind of confusing nowadays. It's like you can't find a spot where people don't just flood in and start just making the scene like not make sense. Like the Telegram groups are hard to communicate in. You know,
I left the main Telegram groups. I left them a long time ago, right? Like they were nice early on, but it was funny because we all talked about in the early days. There's just like someday this chat's going to become too much, big, right? Yeah. It's just going to be too overwhelming. You look, if you go in those chats, like you go in there and you stay in there for a minute or two, you're going to have 100+ messages scroll by. Or if you go in the voice chat, you have 60 people all yelling over the top of each other, right? And it's not a way to have a conducive conversation. So like,
and people think they're like the boss, and then they're like,
yeah,
I'm the boss.
I mean, you walk that fine line of trying to structure that where people can get some meaningful information out of those voice chats, and then ultimate chaos. So it's a tough line to walk. And like personally, I'm not interested in like being that admin. So some admins do a good job of it, some not so much. Everyone's probably working on improving. You know, cut them
doing it for free as well.
It's a job I wouldn't want to do, especially for fucking free. So
exactly, like they are getting.
Shout out to the guys that do put in that time, because it's not a cakewalk. But
if you
yeah,
have a question though, go to the voice chat, the Hex voice chat, 24/7 on Twitter. It's a little hectic in there, but all you have to do is raise your hand. And if you ask a legitimate Hex question, they will absolutely tell you exactly what to do.
Do that, and then also do what I said earlier. Don't just, even though they might have been in Hex for a while, or they might know like what they're talking about to some degree, get multiple sources of information, right? Like even hexagons and stuff like that. Maybe they have a chat going. Maybe it's not 100% correct. Maybe they, and it's, I've said wrong stuff. Wendy's has said wrong stuff before, and it's just human error. Sometimes like we just make mistakes, or maybe they're just not as clear on a subject. But again, it's always good to seek from multiple sources, get as much information as possible before you make an educated decision. Relying off just one source is never the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, show me some.
Yeah, read that.
Hey,
jeez.
I'm sorry.
I wish you could share that one.
We missed that.
Someone sent you that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was in the chat. We didn't see it.
That's great.
Oh, so this is perfect. He's like, I wish there was more interaction with the comments. Us too. We do wish we wish that somebody.
It just depends, Giovanni. We sometimes we're more in the chat, sometimes we're more focused on the conversations. Like, I mean, and this is something like Jim Rat could do, right? Too. He could decide like, okay, maybe this morning I want to do more of an AMA style, and we don't go on these. This is the problem, right? Because we're all friends, we have a good time, we go on tangents and stuff because we like and talking about this. So sometimes we don't address the chat, and so it just depends. But maybe Jim Rat can do that as a show one day.
We could do that for a few minutes if people have
questions. Let's do it for a few minutes. I'm also really new, so like doing the two things at once just isn't locked into my head yet.
Yeah,
because some people are clearly better at it, right? Like
if you do the two things at once, you usually are going to be detracting one.
Well, I got Sam talking about freaking leveraging this house. I'm like, okay, I got to pay attention. Like, what are we talking about? Because I want to be able to chat at some point with something. But let's talk to everyone who's been supporting me and the people that I have not seen yet, and you guys might know. Let's
ask some questions, Giovanni. We'll pay attention to the chat.
Giovanni, do you have any questions for me? Would you like to say anything? Where are you from? How'd you find the show? Are you a Hexagon? Let me know what's going Gucci.
I think he's relatively new, which is good.
I think he said that he was afraid to buy Hex because of the run up.
Yep.
I mean, it's in a pretty big, like dip right now, so it's a lot riskier than buying, at 40-50 cents.
Yeah, Giovanni. If that's something that concerns you, like, I mean, look at all cryptos, right? So Hex has done this 7 or 8 times now. We've had dips, and we always go on to make all-time highs, right? So if you're worried about that, this is the time to buy, right? And again, it's about recalibrating your brain. Yes, okay, we've done 10,000x at one time at all-time highs. And my brain, that just means, okay, cool, we're going to hit that number and exceed it at some point, right? Again, it's that macro lens, having it on and seeing the big picture. So you have that. You have the ability to earn yield along the way. And we're in a 70-80% correction. Like, to me, it's a no-brainer. This would be the time to buy. I wouldn't even think twice about it and I have been, right? Like, I've been buying tens of thousands of dollars along the way during this dip, because to me it's no-brainer. And I bought all the way at the top. I was like, wow, that fucking sucked. Like,
we were talking about that today.
Yeah, I bought 40.
We bought a lot.
We bought a lot. Bought a lot of money, a lot of Hex at 40, 45 cents, like near all-time highs, and it sucked. But the way I counteract that is just during this DCA, I'm like, oh shit, like getting Hex at 10 cents, like I can bring my cost average down a lot. So I've just been aping in at these lower levels. So to me, this is the time to buy, Giovanni. If you do want to buy, I see us hitting all-time highs. It's only a matter of time. You get a copy of your Hex on a new chain. That seems like a no-brainer. Like, to me, there's no sense in not, like, this is the time to buy. I would have no fear or trepidation. But again, you have to make that decision for yourself. You got to calibrate what makes sense to you. But like the way I view it now and what I've seen time again, and I like to use history on my decision-making, it seems like a no-brainer. This is the time you want to start DCAing.
Okay, so to answer that question,
what
does mooned mean? Because did you buy Bitcoin at $1 and then it went to 32? That's kind of a moon, right? What about 1,200? What about 20,000? What about 60,000? Like, these things can go up like for a long time over the long run. Same thing with ETH, right? ETH was 30 cents. It went to $2. It went to $20. It went to $200. It went to $1,400. It went to $4,800 or $4,900. Like, so like the thing is that if you're putting in like substantial money, you want to put it into like an asset that's safe. So like ETH is safe, right? Bitcoin is safe, but it's like the gains are much less, so you probably want to put it somewhere else. Like ETH is safe. Like something like Hex, it's as safe as it can be for as new as it is, right? The community's there. It's got like a very charismatic
Immutable
leader.
code.
It's immutable code.
True DeFi yield. So
Yeah.
look, it's simple, right? Like crypto has proven itself to be the highest appreciating asset. People that got in Bitcoin in the beginning to all-time highs did 6.9 million X. 6.9 million X. What is your definition of moon? Okay, Hex did all times of 10,000 X. Okay, cool. We're 80% dip right now. Okay, cool. You have a 5X that's going to come to you at some point. When that point is going to be, I don't know. But you know how you can realize that? Just by earning yield. You don't even need the price to appreciate. You can earn yield via staking and getting a piece of that inflation and receive that new 5X. Where else can you get 5X on your money? And that's just to break our new all-time highs. We're probably going to go further. No financial advice, but I would bet just about everything I own that we're going higher than our all-time highs. You're getting a split of the coin on a new chain. You're getting Bitcoin did 6.9 million X. Hex is a better Bitcoin. We have less negative externalities when it comes to selling of miners and electricity.
We have currently lower inflation.
You earn yield trustlessly while you hold your Hex when you stake it. Whereas Bitcoin, you earn nothing. You just get to inherit all the negative externalities that people dumping on your head. It's a better Bitcoin. So to me, in like my viewpoints, when I think about this again, I just look so far out in the future. To me, I have no question that we just hit a 6.9 million X at some point. So I consider that a moon. I don't consider 10,000 X a moon. I don't consider like where we're at today, like 5X less than that a moon. Like there's so much opportunity, and then you get to earn yield along the way. It just seems like a no-brainer. So again, it's all about framing in your perspective. And like I've been in since the beginning. I put more money in these later stages into Hex than I ever did in the beginning. Like I put in hundreds of thousands of dollars at 40 cents, 30 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents. And like, I have other streams of revenue to do so. And like, I continue to DCA in just because it is the best asset on the market. No question to me, but I've done the research. I've done that. I had the education. I have the history of what we've done. I see where the community is building and the intelligence level and just the cohesiveness. Like to me, it's just no brainer. Like this community is going to be a force to reckon with for a millennia moving forward. It is the best money. It is the best asset I've seen on planet Earth to date. Why would I not invest in it?
To answer Jerry's question, like some people have already answered you, but like, so yes, you don't get a better rate if you go over 10 years, but like you get to keep the shares because those shares, like, 10 years from now, the rate is going to, you ain't going to be buying no t-shirts.
You won't be buying nothing.
It's going to be, it only goes up in Hex terms. So if you're holding on to those for an extra 5 years, you're going to be probably pretty happy because, the payouts like steadily been going up. If, that trend continues, like if you ended it at 10 years because you're like, oh, it doesn't get better than this, then when you go to restake, if you go to restake like a portion, maybe you restake the principal, whatever, like you're going to be getting way less, way less shares. So to hold on to those for another 5 years and get that increased payout for 5 years, that's a long time. That's, like Hex hasn't even been out 5 years. Like 5 years is a good amount.
T-shares per day for how long? It's like, how many days are your T-shares working for you? Would you like more
Right.
days or would you like less days? It's just like, if you don't care about that, because I'm pretty sure after the 4,000 day point, from 4,000 to 5,555 days, you actually earn just about double what you earned in the first 10 years.
Yep.
So that's more gains than the whole entire time just by adding the time.
Well,
Because
and like,
if you're
you know,
rich
so
already, it's like what you don't necessarily need your CD to come out.
right. So like people are saying, like, well, Hex is risky because it's mooned. You have no idea. Like, so if you're waiting for Pulse or Pulsex, you have no idea what they're going to do. You have no idea. You have literally no idea. We have no idea how much, like people don't talk about, that other kind of stuff, but it's like, we have no idea how much. We know how many people like bought in, but we don't know how much true adoption is going to be on the chain. We don't know how much true adoption is going to be on the chain a year from then. Like Hex has proven itself. So, everybody talking about like, oh, they're going to get the golden goose. Like, what if pulsex and Pulse start 10x higher than ICO, right? Then the price could dump. So you buy in at ICO, and then you're buying the moon, right? The moon that you said you didn't want to buy, it just launched, but you're buying it. So you just have to train yourself to be like, okay, like this is a good asset. I'm going to use it for this reason, right? So like hex is the long term. It's going to pay you yield to not look at it, right? You just lock it up and forget about it. Use it for that. But like to think that you're not going to be in risk with, you know, pulse and pulsex, like there's risk for sure.
It doesn't exist yet.
A lot of risk.
It hasn't proven itself yet. It doesn't exist. Like, and I've talked about this before. It's just like, I think it's going to do extremely well. I like all the fundamentals. I like the innovative stuff that never's been done before, but it doesn't exist until it, just like Hex, it has to earn its stripes.
And we know some big dogs in the ecosystem that, you know, we know some like medium players who like basically put everything they had, you know, liquid into Pulse and PulseX. And we know some guys that had, you know, top 10 stakers and they barely put a bunch in. And why? Because they believe in Hex so much. So, you know, it's one of those things. Like
I like Hex.
Understand the mindset, or you'll never, if you're not in that Hex mindset, you're going to lose all your shit anyway. So it's like, if you're not in the mindset, people just want the work to stop. And it's like, when you get your money, you're probably going to work harder than you ever did anyway, because you're finally going to have resources and time.
I like Hexagon Papa's comment. Just like, I sold one of my favorite guitars for a sacrifice, right? Can always get stuff back later down the road. Like, I love watches. I sold all my watches. I'm down to like, I think I have 2 watches now, and I bought one of them just recently. Like, you can always get material possessions back, but buying your freedom, buying your time back, that's invaluable, right? And I'm okay to give away material possessions in the meantime to do so. And I've done that straight up Gary Vee style. Go through your house and look at all the bullshit that you have laying around that you haven't probably touched in years. Like, sell that shit. It's just economic mass sitting there, and where else to put it? And instead of an asset class that earns thousands of percent yield, if not more, thousands of X's yield, like that's where you want to be. And so, like, again, it's all just about putting the time, putting the effort, putting the expertise, and you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. But like, we've put in the time and work and education, so you can grant us, you don't have to, but you can grant us a little weight that we might have a little idea of what we're talking about, right? Because between Wendy's and I, we have over a decade of experience. Do I know everything? No. Does he know everything? No. Do we help fill in each other's gaps that don't understand some of the information? Sure. Do we get other stuff that we might not be knowledgeable from other community members? Yes. But at the end of the day, we have gone through the pitfalls. We have seen the success. We know a good project when it's in front of us. And Hex is more than a project, right? It's a product. It's done. It's finished. There is no pitfall. You don't have to worry about blowing your hand off, your leg off. Like, it's proven itself. To me, there's nowhere else I would put my money in today. Just isn't. pulsechain, pulsex comes out, I'll put some of my money in there. But right now, there's nothing else I want to put my money into.
Getting the copy
since day one.
The copy is so fun because you can actually do some staking strategy for people that have never done staking strategy like myself, other than go deep because you're too broke.
Because of Ethereum gas fees.
Yeah. Now I can be like, well, maybe if I want to do a month stake, I can play with it, learn a little bit. Like, I just know the number. So it's like anything I stake less than 4,000 days, other than what I keep liquid, is kind of just pointless, because the gas fees are just redonky donk. The end stake fees, people don't understand. People say throw all your money out, but you definitely want to be strategic as far as the gas fees, because
we never say that. There's some people who say that.
Do what works for you, because if you go, and this is why I say every time staking strategy is personal, and this is why when Sam asked me for my staking strategy, like one of the last episodes, I told him, I was like, how about this? How about I give you something better, right? Like, when you're onboarding, because he was asking about onboarding his rich millionaire friend. It's just like, when you're onboarding, just make sure you're onboarding them correctly. Make sure they understand what they hold. Make sure they understand how to use the tool. And then they can develop a staking strategy that works for them, because everyone's fucking unique. Everyone's going to have a different needs in life. They're going to have different strategies. And for me to explain my staking strategy, Wendy's to explain his, you to explain yours, it's irrelevant, because people are at different stages in their lives. We talked about
the same thing with the DCA strategy.
Find what works for you, but the only way you can find what works for you is you need to know the tool in and out. And Johnny Chaos does a great video on this, where it's like, oh, here's a hammer. Okay, you don't know how to use a hammer. Like, you're hitting it with the handle. Okay, you really don't know how to use the tool. Okay, cool. Now you figured out, oh, I hold the nail and I hit it with this end. Okay, I know how to use the hammer now, right? I'm good. No, it's a framing hammer. You can actually stick the nail inside the hammerhead. You don't have to worry about occasionally hitting your thumb. and then you can set the nail, and then you can hit it, and no risk to ever bashing your thumb again. And then even when you think you know a product, you find a little niche that you just miss because there's layers to it, right? Like it is an onion. You have to peel back. You think you might know everything, but there's always another little piece that you can find that ultimately, when you get to the end and you think you know this inside and out, and you can explain it to anyone without missing a step, without missing a beat, you really know that product. And then you can truly set a staking ladder that works for you, right? Like the staking ladder I created 2+ years ago is very different from what I would create today when I know this product inside and out, right? So learn a little bit from
Same with me.
learn a little bit from what I've done. And like I've been in here enough and I know the product well enough that I can give you the pitfalls and stuff that I would change, right? Like my biggest one is like, yeah, I increased my average, but I have way too many stakes. And I think it's one of the biggest ones that we have with all the OGs is a lot of us have too many stakes. I would have consolidated a lot of those because do you need the money? Do you really need that much money?
Man,
consolidate your stakes
every single day. Terrible.
Oh yeah, the worst.
I didn't do it because I was lazy. Like, I'm not logging in every single day.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah,
it's like there's so many days.
And it's again, just with the staking strategy, it's just like if you know the tool, if you know what the product well enough, then you can come up with your own strategy because at the end of the day, it's your staking ladders. Nobody else's. Doing Quattro Cinco nonstop might not work for you. Doing quarterly, doing biannually, doing monthly might not work for you. You just have to figure out what works for you. And the only way to do that is to understand the product itself. In and out, not just scraping the surface. You need to know it all the way down to the roots.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to know it down to the root. It's so true. Nobody wants to learn it too. I was just on the phone with someone and I could just tell the undertone was kind of like, I just want this to occur. And I was just like,
yeah, they want you to take care of it.
It's not going to occur. I was just like, it's not going to happen. Like you got to be like super dedicated to what's going on because otherwise the learning curve and the updates, because if you take a month off crypto, you're a noob again. Like for a little bit, like you have to figure out what the heck's going on at that moment because literally things can change quick when one bomb drops on something and then Coinbase is locked up completely. And then, so it's like there's some
to have a lot of friends because if you have enough friends, you'll always be up to date.
That is true.
Someone's like, "Hey, did you see da 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 da?"
Let's see. It's funny. I'm looking at Soul's comment. He's like, right now he wants monthly stakes right now to pay his overpriced rent. Right. So like today he wants monthly stakes to pay his overpriced rent. But what he doesn't realize is because maybe he doesn't know Hex that well, there's opportunity costs for that, right? Because those T-shares are going to be coming out monthly. And as time goes on, those T-shares just become more expensive. They just do. It's just how the system is designed. So he thinks right now he wants monthly stakes to take care of his overpriced rent. But in the future, 5-10 years when Hex has done its millions of X, it's just like, fuck, why do I have those? Why do I have those millions of stakes? Why do I have these? Why am I losing these T-shares monthly? You're like, shit, I really wish I could go back and I could get rid of those monthly stakes because I can speak on that because I've done monthly stakes before and it's a waste. And it was a waste. Again, you have to be looking out further. And if you know the product better, you'll be able to have a more wholesome view of what you want to actually accomplish. It's like, do you really want monthly stakes coming out to pay your rent? Or is what you really want is just to become financially free where you don't have to worry about
It's not
rent?
just that though. Like it's also the thing that if you're doing monthly stakes, you can EES because the penalties, that the penalty is not as bad. And so like if you can EES, then you're kind of like defeating the purpose of Hex.
And do you want to give all your value to miners? Fuck that.
And I always think it's so crazy that people will stake 1,200 days at EES, because I'm like, what, did you think there wasn't going to be a bear market in this amount of time? Like, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah. So it's just all about just equipping yourself with the proper knowledge the best you can. There was another point that I wanted to make. That
somebody asked us if we use mutual funds to like
is that Trevor? Is Trevor in
lessen
here?
the volatility of crypto. So look, when you have to take like if you want to make it in crypto, you got to take like
skin in the game.
You got to put skin in the game, and you got to make money, right? When you get to a certain point in crypto, dips don't matter anymore because you have enough money to where it's like, what do you care, right? So you really want to get there first, and then like if you wanted to get those, like I wouldn't get them until at least 9 figures, honestly, probably. Make the money first.
What other question you guys got? Because we're probably gonna wrap up here shortly.
Yeah, we gotta go.
What time are we seeing in the first place?
Now 3 because
3.
of the,
Okay.
yeah.
So are we seeing that one or no?
We're gonna see it. Well, I'll show you what he said.
Another day.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. Get our cardio in for the day, going up the stairs. If you guys have any more questions, throw them out there.
Yeah. Shoot them at us. Yep. Yeah. Like Abit said, security reasons too. Less gains and more. The more you're interacting with it, you don't want to have to do that.
Yeah. It's nice to start doing more cold storage stuff with your wallets and touch it 5, 10, 15 years out down the road.
Yep.
It's another good aspect we didn't touch on. It's just the security factor of it.
True.
What's up, Mark from the Philippines? Advice my grandfather gave his father and my father gave me. You will never know how deeply you understand a concept until you teach it to someone else. That's the biggest thing, right? And I've talked about that a few times this stream. Like Hexwork has said, it's like you think you know a topic, and I was very guilty of this early on until you really sit down with someone and you try to teach it to them, right? And they ask you a question that maybe trips you up. You're like, oh shit, I don't really know how to explain that.
Right.
Or like, fuck, maybe I don't know this as well. Or then there's even levels to that too. So okay, maybe you're comfortable right now. Let's say I was onboarding Wendy's and I'm comfortable with him because we're friends and I'm able to go through and answer everything. But let's say now you're trying to onboard someone on stream and now you have eyeballs on you. And we saw this with, what was it? Barstools, that Barstools guy or whatever with the pizza thing. We saw Hexakin come up, which I still give him his props to this day. It's just he had the balls to go up there and
he wrecked that.
Pitch hex to the guy. And 99% of people don't have the cojones to initiate that conversation, right? So that right there is the start. But then after that, it just all fell apart. He got nervous, didn't know what to do. It's just well, look at my wallet. I have lots of money because I put in this little bit amount and it grew. And so all he sees it as is just oh, great, another dude pitching me his crypto. Cool, you made a lot of money. You want me to just buy in your product because you want it to go up more. That's all he's going to be able to see, right? Instead of explaining what it actually does and why it can benefit him, right? He doesn't need. If he explained Hex properly, he would have understood. It's you don't even need the price appreciation, bro. You've already become successful. He's worth what? Well over $100 million or something like that.
Yeah.
It's bro, imagine making 38% APY on your 100 million, and then he's probably going to be. In his mind, that's going to sound outlandish, right? Because in traditional finance, you don't get that anywhere. And then that takes you to the next step of the conversation, and you can explain how that's actually done. And you have to figure out how to pique his interest, how to hook him in. Or again, like I talk about all the time, when you're doing sales, it's just you have to find what that person's really interested in. Maybe he's no longer interested in earning wealth, right? He's got over $100 million. Maybe you have to find something that he really hits home or that he's still seeking out in his life. And you have to be able to figure out how to transition into how Hex will make that work. So maybe he no longer cares about himself, right? He's made all the money. He gets to do whatever he wants. But maybe, I don't know if the guy has a family. Maybe he has a family. He wants to set up generational wealth. Maybe he wants his family's family never to have to work again. Maybe he wants leaving a lasting legacy, right? You have to get down to the roots of what they really want. And if you're pitching to a really rich guy, you have to figure out, okay, just hey, I put in this amount and went up this much. It's not enough, right? They want to be protected. They want to protect their family. There's different motivations. People, the emotion is very different. You have to figure that out first, and then you can gear your conversation that way. But if you don't know the product well enough to explain it and how it fits the needs they need, you're not gonna be successful on your onboard.
And one of the things I was always critical of was in the beginning days was man, I'm Richard says the same shit over and over and over again, and I'm what is the benefit in that? And then, if you watch enough of it, you literally can recite and you can counter people just like Richard does because you've heard it a million times and you're oh, I really understand this concept now. So I said it, I've been saying it for a year. I'm if you're new to Hex and you want to onboard people, then the best thing you can do is listen to people stream, listen to people talk about it, and listen to the different conversations, because there's people that are finding stuff out that they didn't even know, OG hexagons. They don't even know what the actual interest rate is and stuff like that, because they're just chirping back the 3.69%. But our inflation right now is lower than Bitcoin's. Our actual inflation is lower than Bitcoin. So there's just so many things that you can listen to. And, like Motley was saying, if you understand what a person wants, and you can tailor Hex to that, you can be oh, you want security? Okay, cool. Oh, you want money for toys? Okay, cool. You want money for like you can whatever it is that they want, you can tailor the thing to them, and that's just like how
You've already made it successful, and you want to hedge against inflation. All right, what better place can you get 38%?
And he's an expert at it. He's
like
this kid will onboard people anywhere.
I'll savage
the urinal. I mean, like literally anywhere. He's got his dick in his hand. And he's like, "Hey, let me tell you
that
I'm gonna change your life, bro."
That meme where there's like 1,000 urinals and like the dude walks all the way next to it, just like, have you heard about Hex? Like, yeah, definitely, I've literally done that shit before. No shame.
I ain't joking.
No shame. Yeah, but you know, it works. The sincerity comes through. What was
Richard Hart taught me so much alpha that I was like, dude, thank God I know this now. I was just like, everything he was saying was just like, oh, thank God. Thank God someone's saying this.
I love the fallacy of a lot of people are haters, and even people in the community are like, oh, well, you just parrot Richard Hart, right? And it's just like, is he wrong? Is the information he gives wrong? It doesn't matter if you parrot somebody. If they're saying something factually correct, then sure, repeat what they say because it's correct. And so many people in the space are very confused and don't have the proper information. So if someone's providing the valuable and correct information, parrot away because like the space needs it. These common misconceptions need to be, you need to get rid of them. And the only way to do that is to spread education and knowledge. And he's one of the most knowledgeable in the space. So like, if you learn from him, I mean, like, God, the amount of information I've learned from Richard, and it's funny because like Wendy's was saying, like he repeats himself over and over again. But I find I listen to all the streams regardless because every time there's always going to be a nugget or two. It might not even be crypto related, but I learned something new from the man. And this is the best thing I've learned in life in general before even Richard. It's just surrounding yourself with intelligent people, and just they say like you're a combination of your 5 closest friends. Like that adds so much value to your life. You can't even measure it. So like finding people that are as intelligent as Richard Hart in a certain field and learning from them, it's the best way to just up your IQ in that field as well, right?
It shows you how to be efficient very, very often as well. Like he always mentions like little efficiency things.
Yeah, he told me how to tie my shoes properly. Like I didn't know that I was tying my shoes wrong for the past.
Those guys are all about the seconds and the minutes. It's crazy. Like they think about, because when you get down to it and you get really busy as an adult, it's like 30 minutes is like money that or like your only leisure time, or like, those minutes really mean something.
Sorry, I'm looking at Romanian dance. What's the urinal onboarding strategy?
Do you look at their Peter first and then get it?
No, like, so the story was we were out at Excess and I wasn't literally onboarding people in the urinal. It was the guys that the maitre d's and stuff that, wash your hands, give you cologne, smoke a cigarette or whatever. Like I was literally onboarding like the entire staff in the bathroom. Like there was like 3 or 4 of those guys, and they helped me, right? Because I may or may not have taken something, had to get it out of my body, puked, and they're like, "Oh, we'll take care of you, brother," right? So they were giving me a cigarette, cologne, mouthwash, all that shit. I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to pay these guys back and just change their lives. So I just told him, I was like, bro, it's like, listen to me. I was like, I want to change your life. So like, I took a big fat sweaty wad of cash out of my pocket, shoved it in their little tip jar. And I was just like, let me tell you like how I never have to work a day in my life. And like, I want to pass that on to you. And I just started talking to them about Hex because like, do you think they want to fucking sit there and take care of drunk bastards like me that are puking their brains out in the toilet for the rest of their lives? Fuck no, they don't. A lot of them have come, like he came from Ecuador, actually, ironically enough. It's like, do you think they want to do this?
For us.
Yeah. You think they want to do this shit? It's like, fuck no. It's like he was helping me out. I was in a bad place. He was helping me, and like I was paying it forward. And like that sincerity comes through. Like he knew I meant it. And I was able to tell them what, like I had an audience. I'm sitting there like chain smoking the cigarette they fucking gave me, telling them about Hex, change their lives, give them all my social media. It's like, bro, I will help you. I was like, if you don't understand something you're reading or can't quite get there, like contact me. And a lot of those guys reached out to me, and I've had them set up now. And so they're anxiously awaiting the launch of pulsechain and pulsex. Like you can change people's lives by getting them into this. Like it goes so much further than just a financial asset. And I try to get that across.
My attorney is watching. That helped me with my car. Yeah. She's watching the show because I showed it to her, and she was basically like, I can't make enough money to get over inflation and break even with extra to spare. And I was like, yeah, neither can anyone. Yeah, I was like, no one can. I was like, none of us.
That's not the true story. What actually happened was he went up to somebody in the urinal and he looked over and he says, I like the way you hodl, bro. Let me introduce you to Hex.
That's it. You got me. Yeah, busted.
This
But,
has been a great stream. Guys, thanks for helping me interact with the chat. That was great. You guys are pros. I was like, fuck, these guys have been there, done that with the chat. But yeah, guys, I'm getting better with the chat, but I will be bringing serious. When this stuff's really launching, I am going to be dedicating my entire life to being sitting here. Obviously, I don't know if I might have to take a break for a day or so, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm basically going to go every day until I know all the information, because I'm also worried that I won't understand the information if I don't dedicate myself. And this is a way to dedicate myself.
You're only human, right? Like everyone has their limits eventually. I mean, Hexo is the same way, right? Like he brought this community, held this community together through a lot of bullshit. But I mean, eventually you have to take some time for yourself, right? Like he streamed 500 something days nonstop. Like his freaking kid was born in the hospital. He's over there on his phone, like, all right, guys, I'm getting my stream in for the day. Wife's gonna murder me. Gotta go. Like, like he did it though. Like he continued to stream. His child was being born. So it's just like there's just levels of dedication to this stuff. See what you can do, push yourself, and it's okay to also realize where your limits are. And some days Jim Rat's not going to be here in the morning, guys. And
well, I said until Richard Hart comes on the stream, I ain't stopping.
Oof, that's a bold one, sir. That's a bold one.
I said I ain't stopping. And come on, Richard, 200 days, 150 days, fucking help your boy out.
Your boy needs a break.
200 days, but I'm cool with like all through the Pulse Chain launch while you're busy and all. But once you get a break, brother, let's hop on. And the channel will probably be popping off by then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so good luck. You're not going to keep up on the chat that day, I guarantee it.
No.
So you might as well just get some good questions.
Amy in the background
have a good conversation first.
Yeah, Bullish will be dealing with that in the background.
Yeah.
So
it'll come.
I hardly deal with my 80 viewer chat, so I can only imagine when he brings his 4,500.
Oh yeah, put in the work. It'll count. It'll come eventually. And I mean,
no,
I think
that's how. If you're tuned in at any point, like, thank you so much for giving me all that information, dude. Seriously, like, you've changed my life because you've shown me how to be detail oriented. Well, you haven't shown me, but you just been doing that, so I've been copying it basically. Like, I can see how you are, and it's like, oh, I can do this too within my own life. Like, it doesn't. Obviously, I'm not building crypto or whatever, but like, yeah, like you can double down and dedicate yourself. And he said something really powerful to me. He's like, no matter what, not to me, but on his stream, no matter what you do, it doesn't really matter how big or small, you have to basically go all in on it. Like, or it's not going to be successful, like if you don't go all in on something, someone else is going all in. So you might as well not do it. You know what I mean?
Just don't let diversification be a cop out for you. Don't let it be an excuse to not do your research, right? And I think that's what a lot of this diversification has become. It's just an excuse for people to lie to themselves that they're just not willing to put in the work, right? And I think even Warren Buffett has said this. It's like, yeah, like people want to diversify and put a bazillion eggs in different baskets. But like, if you really know what you're talking about, if you know your shit, why would you not have the confidence to put your eggs in that damn basket? And it's always been that way with me and Hex. And we'll see with pulsechain and pulsex. I think the same thing's coming again. So it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Guys, what a great episode. Thank you guys for coming on. As always, seeing you guys both together is pretty cool too. The Hexicans, they like each other, they're friends, and they, we're all friends. Like at the end of the day, getting to this point is kind of hard. So it's kind of like when you're in the army, like some people are the sergeants, some people are, but everyone's they're in the same army. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still doing
one team, one fight.
Right. Like I would rather just be helpful. Like, why can't I just be helpful? You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be a leech. There's no reason. There's no reason. Like just everyone's good at something. Just do what that is. And if you want to stream, just do it on the stream. Yeah. Guys, Hex in the morning. Get me to 1,000 subs, guys. Come on now.
But, yeah. Everyone should tweet this out. Quote tweet it and just put like subscribe. Come check it out. If you like it, listen to the content. Like, I mean, it's funny. I try to subscribe and like to add all the new Hex streamers I see, right? Like it just helps everyone. Like it helps my bags, right? And sometimes everyone's like conversations and topics and shows just aren't for me. But guess what? Like I'm still subscribed. It's fine. Like it doesn't hurt me. I'm not going to lose time or sleep over it, but like, it's a small thing I can do to help. Right. Like, because I understand starting off your first time and like, this takes balls. Like a lot of people don't even want to fucking stream. Like a lot of people to get the gusto to actually do this, it takes time and practice and experience. Like a lot of people just don't want to pull the trigger. So like when people are starting new, like I try to encourage them because like I want the new generation coming up. Like I want them to succeed. So like you need to help and support them, right? It's like the same thing we're doing with Jim Rat. Like the guy's dedicated, he's got people helping him. And like why not help him become successful? Because he'll probably be streaming a lot longer than I will in the future. So like I want him to do
Guaranteed.
well. And then he gets to pass that torch on to the next generations. And you want that same quality to persist.
And there'll
over
be
the
other
years.
streamers that are like, yo, this guy this kind of way, maybe I can be a streamer. Like, you know, like
Yeah,
some of the guys
happens.
that are a little bit
It
more
comes in
not so
waves,
much
you know?
technical. Because
Exactly.
you don't have to be technical to be a streamer, but you have to learn everything. So like at the point that you decide to be a streamer, it's your duty to learn everything. Like from that point forward, like you have to learn. Like if you don't want to learn, like I'm not going to do this show if I'm not learning every day. That's stupid.
Alan's like, can we stake the subs and earn sub yield? Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing too with some of the streamers you see. It's just like, oh, maybe they don't stream as often. It's fine. It's just like maybe there's nothing too new, right? Like once you speak your piece, it's good to continue to educate. But it's pretty straightforward now, guys. Like if you're in this ecosystem and you're wanting to invest in what Richard Hart's building and in this community, shit, it's easy. Hex is 80% dip. Buy your Hex, stake it, get ready for the launch of the new ecosystem. All of it's slowly becoming vertically integrated. We're essentially building the world we want to see, right? There's too many gates up in this broken cesspool of a place, and we're just going to build it better. So if this is where you want to be, simple. Right now, only thing in town is Hex. You get a copy of it. Get ready for the new ecosystem. Get ready for the new products. Pretty straightforward at this point.
Yeah, because it's like imagine not buying Hex at an 80% discount and just like waiting for like pulsechain. Like it could still be another 6 months. Like who knows? You know, like
2023, baby. Pulsechain. It's gonna be. I love my boy T Mike. It'd be awkward as hell if we had PulseCon without PulseChain, you know? I hope not. I fucking hope not, just for everyone's sake. But, you know, it's a possibility.
Oh, fuck. Guys, Hex in the morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Observe, discern, decide. You just subbed. Appreciate you guys, what you're doing. GRC, appreciate the work of Motley and Wendy's as well. Keep up the great work. Thanks, man. That's really nice. Guys, hit the sub, hit the like, talk to your friends about stuff. Buy some Hex while it's low. Don't buy stupid shit. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, boys. Later.
Boom.